Warhammer Day's in the bank and the old world's almost upon us. We chat all about that and all the latest reveals, plus the games we got up to on the weekend. Let's go. Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer fantasy podcast to quench your hobby thirst for all things the old world. And we have a big episode, an exciting one, I think, today. I'm your host, Gommo, with Andrew and Josh as usual. How is everyone?
Yeah, good, thanks, Gommo. G'day, Josh. How you going?
Not bad, guys. Not bad. How are you going, Colin?
Oh, man, I'm pumped. I'm pumped after the weekend.
You sound very pumped.
Yeah. Now, we've got a good one today. Obviously, everyone listening to this will know what we're about to talk about, which is the Warhammer Day reveals and news and all that sort of old world goodness. But yeah, we just thought, let's take it back. We actually got some games in as well, and we want to talk about that. All three of us got games in.
Yeah.
Different games.
Yes, different games, but yes.
We all got games in.
So we thought this is going to be an absolute hobby fest talk.
It will.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully, we'll still try and keep it short. We know also, I think, with talking through our games, we're going to try and keep it a little bit more, brief, brevity,
Minimalist,
a bit more detail, minimalised, brevity.
Well, pertinent details, I feel like.
Yeah. Because we got a bit of feedback on that. And we also actually, and remind me at the end, guys, we actually got a listener question in. Ooh. So that's cool. I hit that. I just remembered I should start doing that. Fired out some tweets and Facebook update things. And we got one in just before the podcast. So we will do justice and actually answer that probably maybe near the end.
We'll do our best to do justice to it.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Colour me intrigued.
That's right. So the usual. Well, look, usually we do some news and then we do hobby time and then the topic. But do you want to switch it around and do hobby time? Because then I think the news is just going to bleed, obviously, into the main topic, which is the whole reveals and all that sort of stuff, the Warhammer Day stuff. So
let's change it up.
Yeah, so let's do some hobby time, which, Josh, catch up with you first, maybe.
Oh, sure. I haven't been doing anything especially different this week, I suppose. I've been working on probably the stuff I've been doing for a few weeks now, which is mainly working on my slow grow Slannesh Dark Elves, painting them up, working out the colour scheme and starting to get into
the hot pink going, right?
Yep, hot pink going. That's right, with the teal highlights and some gold going and that type of thing. And I've got the mounted demonettes working out a bit now as well, where I'm going for sort of using the hot pink for various elements like hair and the fins that go on the back of the steeds and that type of thing, and maybe going to really a light pink or really pale white to pinkish for the actual flesh of the steeds. Just trying to work that and starting to go into sort of mass production of batch painting of these guys now. I finally sort of get the system down.
It's a bit of a commitment, isn't it? Like you feel around, you're like, I don't want to start the whole thing because I'm not 100% where I want to be. And then once you get there, you just go,
And the other thing that I've been struggling with a little bit in working at the color schemes is I've done one or two test models on a crossbowman and on a devoted and that type of thing, but there was some elements that I hadn't decided on, such as the hair color of the devoted, like the witch elf equivalent of the Slannesh. And then I felt like I had to go back and work out the color scheme of the mounted demonettes and what the demonettes were going to be to see how it all sort of interlinks a little bit. Because depending on what colors I end up going with there, that might alter, what sort of schemes I might go for with the devoted as well. Because the last thing you want to do is start like paint a whole unit and then go to a different unit type and go, oh, actually it doesn't really fit because I need to paint these elements of this color, otherwise the theme doesn't work, and then it doesn't really it doesn't quite look as unified on the tabletop. So
I just thought of this, and I didn't ask you this last time, but I feel like with the slow grow, and maybe it's like this with all your armies, but with mine, if I'd started like the slow grow, like the Wood Elves, which I was saying I might not be able to get for other reasons, might not be able to do the time to get it done. But I feel like it's a 6th edition. It feels like it's a self-contained army, so therefore you are really worrying about the tie-in. Whereas some of my other armies are like my orcs and goblins. They're sort of like I'm just going to keep always buying and adding to them, so they're not as
you never
like,
finish it.
yeah, they're not as like. So I don't stress, even though they're one of my favorite. I don't stress about it, and I'm just wondering if I don't know. Like, did you feel more pressure because it was like this? It's going to end up as a 2,000 point whatever army, and it has to all tie in, and it's also an army that's not going to be able to be used. Really, like, you know what I mean? You even said it's like a very like it's a 6th edition special.
It pretty much is. I mean, I'm sort of hoping that there will be themed lists, you know, in the Dark Elf, maybe in the old world that'll have Cult of Slannesh, because there is support for it in the Warhammer. You know, the
main, like end times,
the video game thing, like Total War. So that's what I'm trying of. I'm pretty sure there are some Cult of Slannesh type elements, or you can take Morathi and then have a thing. I haven't looked at it very closely, but because that is coming through that side of the game, I do wonder if it'll be picked up a little bit in the old world too.
You could always proxy the stuff anyway. That's not like run it as a Dark Elf army and just
totally. Just have a pink Dark Elf army.
Yeah.
Although, like, to be honest, like, I guess I would. Dark Elves as an army, I've never really had a huge like. I've got Wood Elf army, and I enjoy Wood Elves.
Yeah,
and maybe I would take a Dark Elf army. I don't know. I just the attraction for me for the army was the mixture of the Slannesh elements and the demons and just the magic style that they have, with the sort of shooting and mobile elements of the Dark Elves, and it being, you know, I do like the glass cannon mobile kind of stuff, and that was a list that fits that nicely.
Can I ask,
in terms,
I was just going to say, like, a lore question. So just a quick thing. Isn't Slannesh trying to, or is going to eat or devour the souls of elves? Is there some little like?
Isn't that how she's kept, or he, or whatever it is, kept alive? Whatever is that?
Yeah, is what's going on with the cult? Is there just like they made some little side deal? Or
well, Morathi has always been a follower of Slannesh.
Yeah.
So she leads that side of things.
So Slannesh isn't going to eat her little posse that she's got, I'm guessing.
I think that's
devour
the
their
deal.
souls.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that on a greater level. I haven't. I'm not big on the lore, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as the Emperor in 40k, or whatever, where they have to sacrifice, what is it, thousands of psychers a day to keep him alive.
Keep him alive.
No. To answer your question, Colin, I don't know. I don't feel more pressure. I mean, this is normally how I paint armies as well. Even if you have an existing army, you still want to have it fitting. Like, if you're painting a new unit for a collection, you still want to have it fitting that collection of that style, so that it's when you even if you're selecting from a large, large number of different units, you still have a unified army on the tabletop when you do that. But it is scary when you're starting off a whole new army with nothing else painted. You want to make sure you select the colors properly, because otherwise you can go back and just like, oh, why did I choose this theme? It just looks weird.
It is good to have a bit of a whip cracking in the background, just sort of something to aim for. Like, there are some looser time limits that you're trying to adhere to.
Just
that
in terms
motivation
of the slow grow itself.
With motivation, like, sometimes you put stuff off, and
I mean, it's the best motivator for me, that / a tournament, or even a game. Like, it's just not that I'm not a really big procrastinator, but it just, I don't know. I just feel like if I don't have the direction, then I don't know. I don't like, well, you can see this, like, you guys played, the whole time that Warhammer's been dead, whereas I sort of went, it sort of wasn't around, so suddenly it just fell off my radar. So I sort of need it there in order to crack the whip for me.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I do definitely like tournaments help make me focus. And sometimes I'll paint pretty hard for 3 or 6 months, to build for a tournament. But then after the tournament, I often won't touch a brush for at least 6 to 8 weeks.
I think that's fine. Yeah, totally. But it's not that it's a meta chasing thing or anything. It's just you very rarely get to see really good even your own army sort of set up just that army. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just that. Yeah, if you, like you're saying, if you've done it right and unifying colors, it looks cool. So that's what motivates me. Just go, oh yeah, if I get this extra thing in, it's going to look cool. Let's get it done, put it on a board or whatever, and take some pictures, and then hopefully play some games. Then maybe win one or two. But anyway,
yeah, maybe.
Cool. So anything else, or you hitting those hills? Did you finish the trees?
No, I'm on the hills now.
Okay.
I'll finish the trees maybe next week.
Right.
I like to have like 4 different things going at once, and then I can pivot to stuff if I feel like it becomes so high a priority.
Yeah, right.
I am going to try and maybe I will get those trees done shortly, because I was at House of War playing a game and there wasn't many forests around. So I was speaking to the lady and she does have a big box of trees, but I'm almost tempted to bring some next month of the first part of the slow grow, just so that we have adequate forests.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.
Now, yeah, with the hills though, I've just been doing my sculptor mold and getting some rocks on there. I haven't painted them yet, but I'll probably work on that tomorrow.
Yeah. Are you I think we talked about this, but like, what are you painting? You're flocking the whole thing in your sort of flock sort of way. Yep. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yep. Flock grass, build it up. And I actually have also been. Oh, sorry, guys, this is a really long segment.
That's fine.
I saw some. There was some chats about DIY battle mats and that kind of thing.
Yes, I read that too. Yeah, I watched that YouTube video. Yeah,
I'm starting to think, is that a doable thing? And I'm wondering about adopting some elements that I saw.
The only thing I didn't like, I mean, for those who haven't seen this, it's well, I guess if I remember, I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, guy, basically it's on canvas, isn't it? And then he's actually like standard sort of linen canvas stuff, like, and then flocked it all and textured it and painted it.
Yeah, they use acrylic cork, I think, and then put on flock and that type of thing. And yeah, I think there's some parts of that, like the example in the video wasn't very good because the whole thing sort of like shrunk.
It was very small. I guess that's what I was wondering. It was very small, and I was thinking, imagine if it's a 6x4. How heavy is that thing? I don't know. Is that?
I don't know. I'm intending to do some experimentation on some smaller pieces of fabric and just see what works and how you can avoid shrinkage and the type of
damage, like you're saying. Like you have to really like.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure really. If I can work out a system, it might be a good way of getting some pretty cheap and hopefully fairly numerous mats going. But yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know.
Cool.
Anyway,
awesome.
That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just smashed out some greats. I mean, I shared stuff. I'll link some stuff, but I shared my army so me and Andrew played on Friday night, and so I just, like I said last week, because Josh sent me those great swords and swordsmen, but I wasn't going to get all them done. But I got the great swords and 10.
You weren't going to get
10
all of them done.
Yeah, but I got the great swords.
Oh,
yeah. So I did 9 handgunners because I already had a champion, which we'll talk about the stupidity of this. But anyway, so I didn't do any more than I had to because I knew I had this like engineer model I was going to use for the champion with the Holman long rifle. So I only had to paint 9 handgunners, and I smashed them out in no time. And then the great swords they still need work, but they were good enough. And I sort of I layered the front rank, so it looks finished, close to it. The banner's not done, but the rest of them all need highlights, but you don't really see them. And I probably could have not even had them on the board, which as the battle report we'll talk about. But yeah,
I
it was
wait
fun.
to hear about this battle.
Yeah, it was good to get them smashed out. And like I said, they're just great models. And I've got them here. I'm going to finish them off this week and just make sure they're maybe ready for next game whenever I take the Empire back out. But that's about it. Although, you know what I'm thinking of doing after this, hearing getting aside for the old world, and I know maybe I'll do slow grow, maybe not. I'm not sure, but I think I will continue on some Tomb King stuff, but maybe start painting some of the 8th edition stuff that I've got that's just not using for 6, but at least it'll be ready, because I'd hate to like put all the effort into the just 6 and then get to we go to CanCon in January and then the game comes out. I'm like, I don't have a Tomb King army and Tomb Kings are out, as one of the main things. And I'm like, I don't have it all painted. Do you know what I mean? So I think I need to do that over the next few months. So at least it's mostly ready. So We'll see. I just thought of that the other day after the game that Andrew and I played. So I'm like, might have to get those snake boys out.
Snaky boys.
Start painting them.
Yeah. Have you had a thought about what you're going to do with the base sizes yet?
No, I just like put a dab of super glue and put them on the base. I might, do the base up in my normal sand, but at least I know I can sort of cut it off or break it or whatever if I need to.
Bit easy,
yeah. Not too, cool.
Is that up to me, I guess?
Yeah.
I didn't do a hell of a lot, to be honest. So I put all my army together midweek, and then I've taken the army out a few times previously, and I haven't repaired. You sort of transport your army and you snap this off and do that. So I spent a bit of time just gluing a few bits and pieces back on.
The battle casualties.
Yeah, I was trying to get some magnetizing going on my eagles, because you know what the stupid flying stands are like, and they don't quite fit in the holes very well and hold them. So I was like, I didn't want to glue them. So I was trying to find my magnets, and my shed's just a giant mess. And I just gave up and just glued them. So now my eagles are glued on their flying stands, which is a little bit annoying because it would be nice to.
What type of magnets did you need? Because I had the little
just
magnets.
their little like neodymium, whatever it's called,
like the tiny little ones that you put on the
Yeah,
bases
yeah.
and stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I've got like literally like 80 sitting next to me.
Oh, so do I. I just can't find them. But yeah, I just figured like things like eagles there's so many factions that have eagles. It would be nice to just keep those models and you can just transfer them to any army. Just basically just change the base over.
Yeah, basically the base is different. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, just suit. But yeah, so I didn't do that. And then obviously Josh got his bull centaurs, which are really nice, and I've been trying to fit them. A couple are a bit of a pain in the butt onto their cavalry bases. But I should be able to get them together, not too bad. I'll just have to, you just got to order them in a certain fashion.
Yeah.
They're like an axis sticking out here. Yeah. So
hopefully that won't be a problem once Old World comes out. Although it might.
No. Well, I was quite surprised how
scope creep.
Yeah.
Scale creep.
Scale creep. The resin that Josh has done it in is actually really durable. Really durable. It's anything better than heaps better than fine cast. I was expecting them to be a bit brittle, but they're full on. Really, really great. Really good product.
No, good to hear. Yeah. I use one of the better quality resins, and I often will mix it with a little bit of. Sriracha have a particular type called tenacious, which if you use it by itself is like almost rubber. Like it's just like super flexible, doesn't snap. It's not brittle. You can literally turn it in half, and it'll just go boing back into its original. So I put like maybe 10% of that in there, just to take the brittleness off, and that often makes a big difference.
Should not tell us the exact amount there and
little patent
trait. Yeah, patent. World Fanatics resin.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, well that's good. And then obviously, we all got games in. So me and Andrew got a game on Friday night. And then what did you do, Josh? You got a game in on the Saturday, did you?
Yeah, early. Yeah, Saturday morning. Yep.
Cool.
Yep. So are we on to games
then?
No,
it's just one. That was sort of the hobby time.
Yeah.
And that's, so we played that. Yeah.
It'll be good to hear from Josh's. It's got me intrigued about his as well.
Yeah. Well, we can, what do we want to do? Do we want to talk through game? What do we think? What do we want to talk about? Old World?
What is the Old World? The Old
do you
World
want to
podcast.
do, I mean, if we think we can keep battle reports sort of, short, and I'm not saying short, they're going to go on for a bit. Should we do that first and keep people, or do you reckon people came here to listen to Warhammer Day? So maybe we should talk about Warhammer Day.
I think we should talk about Warhammer Day and then do the battle reports.
I agree.
Love it.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Yep. Okay. So who wants to lead off with Warhammer Day?
Where are we?
Do you want to talk about stuff that's not Old World, just touch on any of that or not? Like in terms of the dragon thing, or I mean, I've got it in the notes here, but we don't have to look at it.
Did you want to? Are you going to hit the news and then go into
Oh,
Or go
sorry, I was
straight into
scrolling.
the...
Yeah, no, yeah. The news was that, like, I guess
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
which is the main one. So yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
I love this workshopping mid-podcast we've
Yeah,
got
I know,
going
I
on
love
here.
it. People, for people, yeah, I've got these run sheets that I never keep. The poor guys are following along, and I'm jumping ahead and looking around and stuff. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't really much other news apart from I just made some notes here that sort of a news related. That Jordan Sorcery launched another interview with ex CEO Marc Wells of GW. So I guess that's just really a shout out if no one's listened to that yet. I think most of the people he's interviewed have been such of the old timers and they've been on the design side. So obviously they're the creatives, they made the game, you can tell they're passionate. But this is like the CEO, he's a Tom Kirby fanboy, I'll say that. I mean, he came under, like again, if you take your GW, the goggles off and just look at it as a business, this guy totally believes in how that company runs and stuff. So it was really good to listen to some of that stuff, even though some of it you probably sit there going, like,
Yeah.
but I thought the old world thing that I thought was interesting about, now I can't remember the timestamp they're talking about Jordan's basically sort of trying to say to him, like, did Warhammer die because it was, shit type thing? Not shit, but like it was bad in sales and all that, or did it get cannibalized by Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff? And he basically said his view on it was no, they just didn't. And his view was they didn't invest in it, And I think that to me, and for a whole legitimate reasons, Lord of the Rings did take off. They're a small company and all that sort of stuff. But it was really interesting to hear someone who would right in there even acknowledge that. It probably wouldn't have been in the state it was if they'd had focused on it. And obviously, in my personal view is, they should be doing what they're doing now, which is with Warhammer community. And that's a whole different topic, which I was actually doing some research on about in terms of how well they're doing because they're interacting with the public. But with that same junction, it's like, they could have saved, it may not have ended up like it was. So I just think with old world, I don't know. It just makes me hopeful that if it's treated the same way these new systems are with the new GW with bunny ears, that it's gonna be successful. So successful as in never bigger than 40K and all that, but it's gonna be good. That's why I thought it was worth mentioning. And if you haven't, go and listen to it and let us know what you think, I guess. Did you guys, I mean, Andrew, you did listen to it.
I thought it was really interesting. Like you said, it was good to hear the standpoint about the focus on the money makers, and then that's obviously made more money. So I think it is that design investment, and it obviously not going into it too much, but it was a strange thought as we were discussing before. He's talking about the scope of 40K being in the universe and the lore and whatnot was sort of unlimited. And then he was saying that obviously it was very static within what you could do within the Warhammer world. I sort of really disagree with that comment, which I found was a bit strange. But no, it was like you said, I'd highly recommend it. I thought it was really, really good to listen to.
Yeah, so just you just don't. I'm glad some of these ex guys are actually, talking and stuff, and I'm sure just from his level, obviously he ran it for I don't know 5 years for something. So yeah, interesting. I just thought it wasn't really. It was noteworthy just because I think it's related to old
100%.
world in that regard. The other, well, let's get on to the preview. I guess what we're going to see over the next month, though, in terms of news, is they've obviously committed to another preview. So hopefully we'll be doing this in a few weeks' time, talking about maybe Tomb Kings, maybe I don't know, maybe pictures of the books. Who cares? Who knows? But it's sounding good. That's probably the main news bit. So basically Warhammer Day kicked off with the usual 40K stuff, which we won't go into. I actually love that little Go-Go Gadget guy. I think he's pretty funny, but it is ridiculous. But I don't know if you guys...
I saw the dragon. Oh man, the dragon. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, the AOS dragon it's pretty good. I mean...
I don't know about the guy on top, but the dragon.
Yeah. I mean, it's a space marine on top, but...
It does look good.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, I feel like, and is it, what are they called? They're not dragons, are they? What are they called? Dracos or something,
know,
whatever they're called. Do you reckon even the other ones, the Sigma ones, the Sigmarite ones, that this guy comes in a box with the other two guys? I feel like some of their wings are like they're all drooping down. They're not like up. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that's just me and just they're being so dynamic. There's like capturing them when they're sort of, I don't know, like droopy, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense, but
like at the end of the flap, is that what you mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's like their wings are down rather than up. That's I don't know if that's, like an elephant's trunk is good luck when it's up. I don't know if this is Anyway, sorry, that's just me being stupid. But no, I really love the it looks good. There'll be so many conversions of that figure, I reckon.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It'll be massive though. That's the thing. Way
yeah.
bigger.
Well, I guess dragons can be massive to a certain extent, but
but like a chaos lord sitting on there, which you could almost convert that guy up his skull, so you could probably turn him into a chaos dude.
Yeah, that's straight away I thought chaos. Like, with you'd have to change his what he's got in his hand, that little weird skull lantern thing or whatever he's got. Yeah, but definitely chaos lordy.
Yeah, but I
mean, maybe his throne. I don't know. Yeah. There's a few things you could alter.
What do you guys think, totally though? I know we're not an AOS podcast, but what do you think? I don't understand this Colonel's bug thing. Everyone was rating the miniature. What do you guys think?
I hated it.
What?
Yeah.
I hate the bug. They've got the other bug thing. I don't get the bugs.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem foresty to me. It's like, why are they on bugs? Like giant bugs.
Like to me, maybe it's like maybe it's the paint job. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's you can't heavy metal natural stuff. It looks too fake. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder what this thing's going to look like when you get other people painting it. Like, it doesn't look like a real thing.
It reminds me of the bug from Starship Troopers with that funny like mouth claw thing. Like it. I don't know, but I don't like the bugs. It's got that one. It's got the queen on the bug as well. It's one of the.
That other thing. Yeah.
I don't get the bugs.
Man. Yeah, my partner used to tease me about the queen on the bug, the big bug.
You got it?
This one.
Have you got the bug?
No. I wanted it at the time. But I never actually got it. Thank goodness, because it would have never been used in retrospect.
It's just the aesthetic. I mean, some people will love it, which sound like a lot of people did, but I was like,
there's probably not much going around for insect lovers in the wargaming scene. So, there's got to be a niche there for your entomologists out there.
Anyway, cool. So that's I don't know if there was anything else closely Warhammer related apart from the actual release for us, so we should get on to that. So I reckon Josh should walk us through, because again, I always throw the Brett stuff at him.
You always throw the Brett stuff at me? Sure. Yeah.
He's a subject matter expert for sure.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what was there to say about it? There was a lot going on. Lots of stuff returning. Lots of a preview of some new stuff coming through as well. First off would be say.
I was going to say, actually, I didn't write this in the notes. Actually, the first thing was the midweek reveal of the BSB on foot.
That.
So that was very interesting. Yeah,
couple of hours after we recorded last week.
It
popped up.
A beard.
We're like, what the heck? That was it. It was an interesting reveal, wasn't it? Because suddenly we were like, all the other reveals they've had, that has been the reveal.
Yeah,
has been the one miniature or a map. So I guess that was a pretty good portent that this was actually going to be quite a big reveal. And that's literally what it turned out to be, because we saw we saw the BSB on foot, but then we also got to see the previously released Pegasus, but with the guys on top as well. It looks like you've got a few different ways of building the rider.
There's three,
it's great.
isn't there?
Yeah, because you've got the BSB option as well.
Yeah.
well, which is
Did you
really
get the
cool.
joke? Did you hear him say that it was the world's best kept secret? Like the when they were
Yeah,
mentioning the Pegasus.
Oh. No, I didn't watch. I totally didn't see that.
So it was funny. It was good to know that. They obviously were just joking about the fact that most people had seen it. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think about the peg then? Obviously now that you can see it painted and the different variants.
It looks nice. I'm still confused about what proportions the wings are a little bit based on the photos. I can't really work out what it. You sort of need to see it in the flesh, I think. And then I'm also unsure about the scaling of it. It'll be interesting to see how it looks up next to the original Pegasus Knights as well.
They're going to be tiny, sure.
I know. That's my concern.
Little micro machines.
They're going to be itsy little things, and it's just going to, not quite line up. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see a little bit. What did you guys think of it?
Can you take a BSB on a Pegasus at the moment?
No.
No, okay.
Oh, no, mate, you can. No, you can actually. Sorry, what am I saying? Yeah, no.
You can. Okay, right.
You've got the
that's
option.
Not a new thing.
Yeah, no, you can.
Okay,
for sure.
I face one. Yeah.
The note
I don't
that
think
I
I've
made
ever
on the
put a BSB on a Pegasus, but you can.
Okay, right. Yeah, cool. I love his I love his rein. Like he's got, like, I don't know, it feels he's pulling that left rein. I don't know, like it's different to the other. I think it's different to the other builds. You know, he's got his banner in the right, and then he's like pulling on that left, and the head's pulling and stuff. And I think it's really dynamic. Whereas the other guys, I guess they got shields, so they're not really touching the reins. Is that right? Or you can't. Maybe there's no screenshots of that.
It's kind of detailed, but the aesthetic's very Bretonian.
So I don't know, just it looks pretty dynamic to me. That peg, I like that BSB, but yeah, like I guess what I was alluding at is like how often do you actually put him on a? Is that just going to be a figure that you just put in the cabinet if you build it that way? You know, but yeah.
I mean, the assumption is they would have rules that would support the reason people would buy that model. Surely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's really pointless. But hopefully you don't just put it in the way. But what are we doing? So I can't really see the reins on the other guys. Looking at those photos,
that's just the shield, and you can't see the other side of the Duke one. Not the Duke. Yeah, the Duke one. You can't. Or is it the Baron? Is that what it's called? What's the one with the dark one? The dark winged Pegasus. Is that the Duke or the Baron? The guy with the flat hat. You know what's actually, this is hard for podcast listeners. How good are these painters that like the eyes? You can see them through the slit of the helmet and stuff of the main guy. I just like that. That's bloody good painting.
But you can awesome too. Yeah. No, I hadn't noticed that, to be honest.
You'd be painting that first before you paint the helmet. That's for sure.
I don't know how they got in there and done that. That's some impressive next level painting. Yeah. Okay.
But then we do see some new stuff that we haven't seen.
Yeah. So then I think there's the Knights of the Realm on foot, which has been a unit long hankered for by many a Bretonian. I think it's one of the most requested unit archetypes, really. I don't know. What do you guys think of the style and how they appear?
I like the swordsman. The axes are a little bit big. Like just makes
the two-handed ones.
Yeah. I think the swordsman look pretty cool. Some of the helmets, like they're very
busy.
Yeah,
totally. I agree. I think it's just on the edge of too much for me.
So my view, and you might have seen this in the notes, and this is a question for you, Josh, as well, is this idea, because they threw the whole lore thing up around the helmets, you know, and it's actually their first, whatever got them to a knight, or I don't know, whatever the story is, you know, like they battle a bear, and so they've got this bear on their helmet. Is that in the Bretonian lore? Like, or is that something that is being added or built on? Do you think in Old World?
Yeah, there was There was that element. I think it might have even been 5th edition. I can't remember which book it was now, but yeah, they would say that the errants didn't really have any emblems on them on their barding because they hadn't achieved their task, whatever it was, and then they get the emblem once they've done that. I'm not sure necessarily if the emblem on the barding corresponds with what's on the crest. Maybe it does.
What about the helmet?
But I'm not sure specifically on the helmet.
The party hat. Well, I guess because what I was thinking here was that, and there's a couple of points here, and I don't know if it's the right time to bring it up, but I feel like they're potentially going to stylize these a bit different. Not AOS them all, but they're probably going to try and IP them more. So I thought maybe they're going to try and add some elements in. And so maybe this whole making sure that their helmets are big and massive, because then if someone else goes and makes other knights, which, you can't, right now you can probably go and get, like you said, you can go get, French medieval knights, and there's your knights. But if they're all got these massive, weird, wacky helmet things and someone's cloning them, then they can like maybe try and fight that a bit more and say, no, they're Bretonians. You're copying like the look of our Bretonians more. Like, I'm just wondering if they're going to find these little things or make an effort to find those little things that make it distinctly Games Workshop and Old World rather than just trying to just fit it into the old lore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fair.
And I don't know if that's to do with this helmet stuff. I was just wondering.
No, I mean, yeah, the helmets are so some of them are certainly, of the old ones. We've got similar sort of styles, like the bull one. I think is a very very familiar one, and you've got the pig with the sword sticking out the back again. I think I recognize that one from the I think it might have been the 5th edition. Knights, maybe.
Right. Okay, so it's been there the whole time. Okay.
Yeah. Like that kind of those elements have been there. Certainly, there's a lot more variety, and some of them are a bit more spiky, and do just take me back to Age of Sigmar slightly.
Yeah.
A little bit about the bulkiness of the bodies. It almost makes me think of those guys that were released for the Cities of Sigmar a few months ago.
Well, the first opening clip of that video. They look so much. I mean, they're humans, so obviously, but they looked so similar. And to me, that wasn't a bad thing at all. It was just, to me, it actually made me a little bit excited because I don't play AOS like we just talked about. Not everything floats my boat when I look at it, but I can't fault the quality and how good some of that stuff is. And so when I see that come out, I'm like, yeah, like I'm never going to go, oh, fuck, I'm not going to play this game, this Old World game because the figures are slightly different to what I remember my 6th edition army look like. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
I want them to do new stuff, and I want them to look better and cooler and more detailed and whatever,
Yeah.
And I think these guys fitted it pretty cool.
They do.
Yeah.
The only other concern is the scale of them.
Yeah.
Which looking at them, because I assume they're on 25mm bases, they are taking up that base pretty nicely. They look like they're going to be 32mm scale.
They look like they're going to be hard to rank up, is that what you're saying?
Well, ironic, isn't it? They increase the base size. Oh, it'll be easy to rank things up. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're actually filling the base again, and all those pole arms are now just reaching
bashing
right across
the other person's helmet.
It's not really scale creep. Like you put them like in some of those pictures where they're next to each other, and it's a fair jump. Like it's kind of very obvious.
As in, like between like them and like the mounted,
the men at arms.
The men at arms. Sorry,
these guys. Like it's. There's a noticeable
Is that
difference.
okay, given that these guys are like knights and stuff, and the other ones are not fed very well men at arms? Or do you reckon
but they're not Chaos
scale?
Warriors. Like they're not supposed to be that much bigger. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, they can be marginally bigger because you're right. They might be better nourished. But then the other problem is then the other knights that are mounted aren't. They're going to be actually noticeably larger than those guys too.
They did make a point on that video, and I don't know if it was just an offhand remark or it was true, was that because these guys they're heaps flexible, the heads come off, everything's individual and you can mix and match, that you can put them on the Knights of the Realm as well, the Knights. Now, I don't know if that's just them saying that, like, yeah, you could put the helmets on, or is if they'd actually designed them in a way that they won't look too ridiculous. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Like, yeah, a lot of the spare parts and it's all going to be interchangeable.
Interesting.
Which is really
yeah,
good.
no, I didn't know that actually. I hadn't heard that.
So like, it'd be interesting if like you wouldn't do it just because you already got them, but if someone built a new army and then started taking more of these heads and putting them on the night, like the Knights of the Realm, maybe it'll start blending. You might not notice as much that it's an older kit. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I don't know if I had any other thoughts on it, but
yeah, because certainly if you're looking at those pictures they've got of the older Knights of Realm, the helmets are significantly less sort of I don't want to say gaudy, but intricate. That's a better word.
Yeah, they've got, like you said, they've got these different.
They're simpler. They're simpler.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Which is just the different era,
Different
But
era,
you could totally mix the heads in if you were starting a new army, and they could have that style, which is probably a good idea. Really, you want the style to be consistent. Because I guess the question is, are they planning to eventually phase out the old 6th edition models?
Yeah. Well, that's why
going
Andrew
hard
had a
at this
take
scale.
on that, I think. Yeah. What do you think, Andrew? I think you had a point about
100%. Like, as we discussed, like, it's just any sort of company, you're trying to get new players in from other systems. Are you really just going to be basing everything around selling models that are 15 years plus old? I think it's just a way that they can minimize cost, and obviously be able to just get the product out, without this huge investment. See how it does go, and obviously later on start phasing these older kits out, and then obviously it's pretty much like you said, it's just business 101, isn't it? It's just sort of
and I think there's been very few circumstances, I think, where they've totally refreshed an entire army in one go
straight
most of
up.
the time. And even when they do, it's obviously with the big game systems, but most of the times it's drip fed. Half the units get updated in the next.
Like the real old ones.
Yeah.
So
especially this when they're rebooting such an old game, and they're not even necessarily fully supporting all the factions, because they're just like very cautiously testing the waters.
Well, and if you're going to launch, exactly. If you're going to launch the game, you need factions to launch the game because it's version 1 of it. So you can't make 7 factions all new, or you can't launch just with 2 factions that are all new. You've got to launch with old stuff. And so I guess the complaint, some people, I don't know why people complain at all, but I'm complaining about people complaining, but that they haven't replaced more of it. And I just think, well, I don't know.
You got Age of Sigma and 40k. They've got interchangeable models. Age of Sigma's still running around with all old factions that don't really fit the lore currently. And they're still sort of, you could see them phasing them out, especially from those human realms and whatnot. Like, the lore doesn't just seem to make sense with some of those old.
With the dark elves in there still and all that weird stuff.
But
that's the thing. So it's a business. Yes, it's a game and it's a fantasy world, and you want it to sort of make sense, but well, sort of, be continuous and not break the story. But at the end of the day,
people just need to give it a bit of a break.
Just be thankful it's come back, which I think most people are. But anyway,
So to continue through the reveal, so they went from the Foot Knights, then we got the Peg Knights, Knights of the Realm, Men at Arms, and the Bowmen. Just the re-release of those old 6th edition boxes, which still stand up pretty well, really. Like they're
I don't have them,
kits.
so they are they? Yeah, and they did say so. What value? Like, everyone's been really talking up how good it will be. That you'll get it in a box of 32. Do you reckon would that be the case with the Men at Arms, or were they different box sizes generally?
I think they were both 16 boxes off the top of my head. So I would imagine it would be the same. If anything, you'd expect it would be, because typically the Men at Arms unit was usually bigger than the Archers unit. I'm actually surprised they're going to do a box of 32. peasant bowman. That's actually a little bit of a concern to me. It's like, why do we need 30?
Why do we need 30? Yeah, I know. It's
edition.
like, let's not 8th edition this. I mean, yeah. That's a good point. But they did all this with all the AOS rebrands, and they like, you used to get like 10 Black Orcs, and then they brought out 20 Black Orcs or whatever, wasn't it? Or the Savage Orcs were in
15,
16s or 18s
15,
or whatever it was. So I feel like it's, like the big,
actually
the
work out
boxes were
cheaper?
bigger. Well, per figure it is, but this is what's great about the business model. It's like, hang on, I'll get you to give me more money. I'll give you more figures, but you gave me more money. And you know what I mean? Like when I look at a business report, I'm looking at revenue. Okay, I'm looking at expenses and stuff, but this is like that would be minuscule. These profit margin on these things would be massive once the upfront cost is gone. So like, it's such a great way. And that's what they're doing, you know, even like with the AOS Dragon, it only comes out initially with the other 2 dragons. So now you have to spend, you know, $300 to buy the thing, you know. So that's their model. I think it's great. And this will be what happens with Old World. Like I bet you can't buy that Pegasus unless you buy a Bretonnian army box, which has a lot of stuff in it. At least for 3 months or whatever, you know, and then eventually they bring it out.
Yeah, for multiple months. I think they've done that before with other things, and I think you're absolutely right.
There are some weird numbers in Age of Sigmar, like the box doesn't always line up. It's almost like you got to get 2. So it's kind of like it comes in, you know, in your units are 10, but then the box comes as 15. So you might want 20, but then now you got to buy 2 boxes of 15.
I think they fixed that in 10th, which is 40k 10th is lined up, except for the Plague Marines. There was a big, I think, something like that. One of the Death Guard ones had an issue where
some funny number
didn't line up, but they fixed it in the errata. So I'm hoping, because I think that's a goodwill gesture. I think to say, hey, when you buy a box, you can put it on the table.
Yeah, not to piss people off.
And you don't need to actually buy 2 boxes, like that type of thing, just to
when you're
play
spending
half the figures.
$100 odd bucks on a box.
So hopefully that coalesces over time, and all their game systems do that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I gotta say, the men at arms and the bowmen on the 25mm bases actually look pretty good.
They do.
Oh yeah, I do. I like.
They look perfect. That's good size.
It's like Sorry.
No, you're right. No, you go.
It's good. No, I've lost my train of thought now. To completely go for it.
I've got one complaint about the big size, the base size, right? And I was putting my Empire back in my cabinet over here, and then I looked underneath, like my Orc cabinet, like looking at
what you could fit.
I'm like, I'm going to have to buy another cabinet because all these armies are going to get wider. So that's how it's not really a big complaint. But
it gives you room to give it a bit more life, but you know, like for basic, like you have especially for the smaller models like that men at arms and bowmen, like that's awesome. Just looking at that.
Yeah, you can see all the models properly. Like they're not so cramped together you can't see each individual one, which is nice. You know, unfortunately, if they do follow the scale of the Foot Knights, then eventually it'll just be back to the same scale, but on a bigger base, essentially. But for now, I really don't mind that base size for those. And the Knights as well. They still have yet to define a
it's frustrating
cavalry base size, which is very bizarre. I really don't know why, especially if they're this close to release. You know, well, not that we've talked about that yet, but spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
The Peg Knight base is bigger. It's big. Like you look at the size of Peg Knight.
I was going to ask. Yeah, do you reckon that's monstrous cab size, or do you reckon it's a weed one?
Yeah.
It's not small. Like that. It's not a small model. They look small in the picture. Like with the base, because the base is so big, but it's
because monstrous cab's 50 by 75, isn't it? Like demigriff base.
Yeah, I think that could be a 50 by or something. Could it be bigger than 50 in that photo?
I don't know.
I don't think so. They were originally on 40s.
Yeah.
I think that might be something slightly bigger than a 40, maybe a 45 or something. I don't think it'd be quite a 50.
It's definitely longer.
It's hard to tell from the photo. Yeah, definitely longer. It's not square. I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely rectangular.
40 by 60 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone did say 40 by 60. It's just a weird. I haven't seen. I mean, again, all new base sizes, I guess. But there's no way that's No, there's no way that's a cav base, is it?
Nah.
No. They were pretty big. They were a lot bigger than Cav.
Yeah, they're big.
So
They
even
are
though
big.
those photos on the article looks, they
They
look
look
smaller, but
Yeah.
but in real life they're actually wider, significantly wider than a real.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, cool. And then we get the handmaiden, which was like at the end of the
Yeah.
thing. It was like another new resin. So yeah,
I
what do
know.
you think?
She just pops up. She just
Yeah.
pops up. I don't know what it is about it. I can't put my finger on it. I really like the damsel on the unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm less of a fan of this one, and I just don't know why.
It's a bit plain for some reason.
Her headdress isn't as good as the other one.
Yeah.
It's very simple and very elvish, this one, though, which is cool.
Yeah, which is, I guess that's what they've gone for. And I shouldn't complain about that, because usually my complaint is about making things too over, complex. So,
yeah. It's so funny. I mean, you look at something like that and it's technically so simple to paint, but it's not either. Like, to get it to look like that, I reckon. Like, I don't know. Sometimes the simplistic figures are actually harder, I feel.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So. I mean, I do like it, and I like what they've tried to do with it. I like her coming off a little vine there. It's a cool little theme that she's, launching off there with probably a spell propelling her forward or something like that. Which, yeah.
Well, it might be a good time to actually ask that. Like, 'cause I looked at that and thought, is that going to snap? Okay, because that's not plastic. That's a resin kit. What do you guys understand about the difference between Forge World resin and fine cast? Because I feel like there's always those things are thrown around, but they're actually, when I just looked into them because I didn't know, they're different. And like, if you guys,
they are different. Yeah, I feel like the Forge World resin's much better quality and more resilient.
But these are going to be that, aren't they? Not fine cast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. These are all going
so
to be
have you dealt like? Well, you've obviously. Well, you probably have, Andrew. Have you the Forge World resin, like Chaos Dwarves and stuff? Are they Forge World resin?
Yeah. I got I'm doing those. Oh well. Well, between that and my giant rats I got the other day from Forge World, the Skaven ones, I put those together and I'd say it's a bit more sturdier than the fine cast. But yeah, I'm still not a fan of it.
Right.
Like you said, just due to the fragility of it.
Okay.
Plus they always seem to come out bent and things, like, it's never I don't know, like, it just annoys me. You get this model and it's like you got to put it in hot water and bend it back into shape.
Yeah, that's annoying.
When you're paying, like, you're probably paying $40 for this handmaiden. I'm dare say. It's just I don't know, that part of it just annoys me.
Yeah,
like
I actually enjoy painting. I don't really have many fine cast. I think there's squigs in that Witch Hunter I've got. Like, most of it, like, I guess I missed it. You know what I mean? But actually, I like painting a resin miniature. I like the weight that it's like. I'm not a big fan of heavy figures. Plastic's obviously awesome, but I don't know. I don't mind what it is, but just when I paint resin, like at least the Games Workshop ones I haven't minded it, but I haven't actually had bad ones either. So I don't know.
I feel the paint goes on better.
Yeah, is it? I don't know what it is. Yeah, just
metal. I've always got problems. Like, I don't know. The paint just doesn't
chips.
seem to.
Yeah. Need the right primer.
Yeah,
and I always tend to go on. Got to be a bit thicker on the metal primer. Well, I don't know why.
So I was always under the originally, until I looked this up, I thought that Games Workshop just basically they flicked around and that the fine cast, and this is true, the fine cast was a their own stuff, so they could use their metal molds, so they didn't change the molds. It was just, that's why my squigs are all the same as the old ones, because they just basically changed the material. But the Forge World resin ones are different, and they would have different tooling, and so therefore, I guess when we get down to the next thing, which is the trebuchet, they've retooled that into into Forge World resin. So does that mean yes, it's the same design, but technically it's a whole new mold and process?
I think so. Well, the term they've used is remastered. So I think the implication is that it wasn't not just a direct.
Yeah, they're just not pumping out the old metal one. Yeah, okay.
Readers almost design it fresh using the the Forge World resin molds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I mean, that's interesting. It'd be interesting what people like take something like this and if they use this field trebuchet or like, because I've seen the quality of, for example, the Highland miniatures trebuchet and stuff, and you think, oh man, like it's just a war machine. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
when you really think sometimes the 3D print stuff's going to be, a legitimate competitor. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the price is going to be Forge World?
That's the thing. I don't know because me. I've been saying, well, it's Forge Worlds, but it's not. It's Specialist Design Studio, but it's actually on. You don't go to Forge World to buy it.
Nah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I have no idea. I don't know enough about Forge World and Horus Heresy and how much that stuff is and all that. So
yeah, well, that's it. I mean, like if we are looking at these bigger 8th edition style armies, it would be nice to keep the price down a little bit. I know Australia, they've basically GW has come out and said they're quite happy to leave pricing high in Australia because Australians are willing to pay that, which gets a bit frustrating because just with the way, with the dollar and whatnot, it has been higher in the past, and they've basically just said like, they're happy to keep the pricing in Australia quite high.
Are you guys querying whether or not the Forge World resin will be listed on the Games Workshop website or the Forge World website? Is that
no, the pricing.
No, just the pricing.
Oh,
if
just
it would
pricing.
be represent, just because everyone says Forge World pricing's expensive because it's all generally smaller quantities and all that.
It is. It's really expensive.
Will that fly over to this, or
I expect it will. Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think they would miss out on that. For sure. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see.
You could buy a 3D printer for 2 trebuchets.
Anyway, but that was the reveal, I guess. Is there anything else on the actual?
Just a little
stuff.
Oh, nothing else on the Bretonnium stuff. I don't think. Was that it? That was it.
I think that. Yeah.
Man, looking at that damsel, she is actually large too, I must say.
Well, yeah, that's 25 again. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not on 20. She's on 25. Anyway, I think that's it for Brets.
Actually, I missed one question going back to the whole IP and them changing stuff. Someone had said that the fleur-de-lis has changed. Is that how you say it? Fleur-de-lis, because it's got a sword. It's got a sword in it.
Let me see.
I don't know. I just saw that. Is that true? You're a Bret guy.
I thought they were talking about on the banner.
Oh, it was anywhere it is. It's even on one of the. I found it somewhere.
The icons.
Icons somewhere.
Was it?
Like everywhere where it is, it's an actual sword. But is that a new thing? And if so, do you reckon that to me then feels like if that is new, then that would be again one of these changes.
I don't like that they're all over that damsel and it doesn't look overly. Oh, maybe it is a sword.
Maybe it's slightly more angular than it used to be. It used to be a curved end, I guess. I don't think you can say that's definitely what they're intending to do.
Right.
Necessarily.
It's definitely swords in some of the actual decals or they're using. Or the actual painted ones. But okay.
Which looks cool. I think it looks
someone's comment, and so I thought I'd better ask Josh, who knows more about than me. No idea. So cool. But that's
they look like regular fleur-de-lis.
Yeah. No, so as I understand, this is the launch. I mean, they've said this is the launch range. So that to me means it's day one. This is, maybe some army box. You'll get some of this stuff in it. But they did definitely say that there is other kits, a few other returning kits later on, but this is the launch release for Brets. So yeah, it feels like, because I mean, there is missing things like the Grail Knights and stuff like that. So I wasn't sure.
Grail Knights questing, mounted squires.
Yeah. So I wonder if I guess what I'm getting at is like, how do you release? Well, I guess you can. How do you release rules for all the existing factions, but then you don't have models for them? But I guess that's happened a lot in the past. Do you know what I mean? Like if you go to the web store and in whenever it comes out, which we can talk about in a minute, and you can't get yeomen, you can't get questing nights, like, are they in the army lists?
I
You know,
think they
so-
They've
are.
got to be with a plan to release shortly.
Somebody made a comment and they basically picked something up from the page that they had previously made a comment on, saying that anything that you've had when
the 8th edition
Warhammer,
died.
Fantasy finished, will
would be
playable.
supported. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm guessing.
But that doesn't mean it's buyable, I guess, is what I'm saying.
No, I mean,
yeah,
they said
Yeah, okay.
they said the same thing when Age of Sigmar came out.
Yeah. Yes.
Which to me would mean it's at least going to be in an army book. I can't see them having a Bretonnian PDF for non-production models. And then if it's in an army book, I would have thought, well, you'd like to think it'd be supported, that you could purchase it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's
absolutely.
just interesting to see them, not bring back even the old kits of some of the ones, unless they are sneakily thinking, we're going to release some of these again in the next round, and they're new. I don't know.
It might just be they didn't preview it. They might just decide like that's enough to preview, because they're saying alongside these new and returning kits, there will also be a selection of returning metal heroes and specialist units. So they could release all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, launch dates. We got that too, sort of.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's really good. That was probably that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's set in semi-dry concrete.
Yeah. Well, I will admit, like I said to you guys last week when I well, maybe I just said to Andrew that the 1 day to go thing was obviously Bretonnian, the color scheme of that banner they put on Instagram, and everyone was like, and then that's when I started to backtrack and go, oh crap, they're just going to show Bretonnian stuff.
Just one model or something.
And then when they kicked the old world release thing off to get the video, which was Bretonnia, and my first thought was, okay, yeah, they are going to show us a lot of Bretonnia, but maybe that's it. But then I'm glad he said, when they were talking about it, he said, let's get onto the Bretonnian stuff. But yes, there will be some other, we are going to talk about other old news. And that's when, yes, we're going to get something else, which we did, which is, first quarter. Sorry, I shouldn't say first quarter 24. They said early 24. But they basically said you won't have to wait very long to release. And then, of course, there was a leaked tweet which got deleted, which said, get ready for February 2024.
Yeah, you think Feb.
And then someone else had said somewhere it's a 2-week pre-order, expecting it in Jan, coming out in Feb or something like that. I can't remember where I saw that, but yeah. So
right.
That makes sense if they're saying early.
Oh, so they said early. Oh, okay. I didn't realize they said early 24. I assumed it was first quarter because that's all I read.
They basically said you won't have to wait very long in the new year. So to me, that means it's pretty much, and they said it's the first major release of the year. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah. I haven't really been in it every sort of year. So I don't even know, like, does January, do they take
apparently,
a break?
so it's like a marketing thing. They hit the pre-Christmas rush with sort of those new releases ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then obviously you got that, that lull in January. And then they take that into account, and then they just, when people start getting that money together in February, is like, bang.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it might be like halfway through Jan you start seeing, and then they might go on pre-order like
you'll get the previews
weekend,
and
for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah. Cool.
Feb seems pretty accurate.
Okay. That's good. I mean, 3 months or so to get ready, and I would assume they're going to start dropping a lot more info then as it gets closer as well. They would just keep pumping it out because they want to keep that up. Was there any other thing on the release dates on that? I mean, they obviously also have the Warhammer Community Old World page up now, and it's in the banner. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
In
they
the
got
menu.
there's you can register, which I'll be doing as well for the news
Is that just I clicked that,
newsletter.
but then it looked like it's just the normal Warhammer community newsletter link. So
Oh no, you don't want
I don't. Well, I am already on that, but I
I,
don't think it's just Old World. But I don't know.
oh no, I was hoping it's going to be our world specific.
It might be. Yeah, it just didn't look it. Cool. But that was it. That was it was good. I stayed up to midnight, which was fun. Oh, sorry, I didn't stay up. I woke up. I don't know why, but it was fun.
Yeah. Sounds like it was worth
Cool.
it.
So it's coming. Yeah. Let's get where we. Yeah. Well, should we get on to some games then? Unless you guys have anything else to talk about.
I think let's chat about some games, shall we?
Cool. Awesome. How about Josh? You lead us with yours.
Yeah,
sure. With yours.
Okay. All right. Let's crack through it. So mine was a bit of just a casual affair. First game I played for a while. Just against a fellow guy who's signed up to the slow grow. And I kind of offered to print him a couple of things, and then in the process of arranging to meet up, we're kind of like, let's just play a game while we're doing that. And yeah, so he had a couple of armies, but he had some Wood Elves, and I hadn't really played against Wood Elves.
That's it. Because you've got, just so listeners know, obviously your two main armies are Bretonnian and Wood Elves at the moment, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And I've really only played with my Bretonnians so far this year, playing 6th edition. So I haven't really used them in 6th. And I just happen to have not played against them either. So I felt like it would be just an interesting type of game to do. So we just did 2,000-point armies. My list, I just took my castle assault list, really. I didn't actually change it in any way. So just as an outline, it's a challenge lord. It ignores armor saves, and it can reroll hits and wounds and challenges. I've got 2 level 2s on life, and I've got a BSB with a virtue that gives extra combat res in combat, and he's in a Knights of the Realm with a war banner. The challenge lord is in the questing knights, 7 questing knights. Then I've got a unit of 7 grails. And a little unit of 6 errants with the banner that ignores stand and shoot. Then I've got a unit of pegs, a trebuchet, a unit of 10 skirmish bowmen, and 2 units of yeomen. Now, hold on, I'll just actually pull up my photos, because he actually brought a forest dragon.
Oh, did I see that in the picture? I must have.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, yeah.
I think I proved it.
Oh, that's right, because it went over the back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry.
So in a forest dragon, he had a noble on a forest dragon. Had the Stone of Crystal Mere, which is the one that gives you 3+ ward save for the whole model, including the dragon, until you fail it. Then you just lose the entire ward save.
Okay.
For the rest of the game. So it's interesting. Like it's a good little item.
It is.
It had quite a small army though, because that was like a 600 point beast. I think the noble had like the Helm of the Wild Hunt that gives extra attack and weapon skill on the charge, and he just had a Sword of Might, strength 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite a small army, because he also had a noble on a stag in a unit of Wild Riders. So he's got, pretty lots of monstrous mounts. Hero Hammer, and a tree man as well. So it's like, he's got lots of stuff.
Big boys getting around.
Lots of big boys and small bases. I can't. The noble, I think there was a spear that the first, if he wounds if he calls a wound in combat, that the opponent has -1 to hit. I think the Dawn Spear or something like that. I think it was. Right. And he's just in a unit of 5 Wild Riders, and then he had 2 units of Dryads, like 8 Dryads, 2 units of 10 Glade Guard, a unit of 7 War Dancers, and an Eagle.
Yeah, right. That's not a lot.
Not a lot. He did Mage actually. Sorry, he had a level 1 Mage with 2 Dispel Scrolls. So just a pure defense.
Yeah.
And yeah, so deployment. He actually, I sort of.
What scenario was it?
We just played Battle Line.
Okay. Yeah.
We played Battle Line. We just kept it fairly simple.
Classic.
Just wanted to crack through a game. So yeah, deployment was. I think I started playing first. He actually deployed. He ended up. I think we both deployed a little bit centrally, and then he actually did a refuse flank and deployed almost everything he had of value on his left flank, which actually I guess I maybe caught me out of position slightly because I had my 3 main knight buses in the center with the yeomen sort of screening in front of them. And then I'd followed him onto that flank with just my small bus of errants with the Pegasus knights in front of them. Had the trebuchet over there as well, and then the bowmen too. So they're all those units are basically directly across from his dragon.
Big stuff.
The wild riders, the war dancers, the eagle, and one of the dryads. You sort of had the tree man sort of sitting slightly more centrally, sort of as an anchor point, I guess, to that flank. And then he had one more unit of dryads, and then the Glade Guard sort of sitting centrally across from all my knight buses. So yes. I think what affected my deployment slightly was with the terrain. On that flank where he deployed it heavily, across from it, in my deployment zone, there were 2 sort of long, quite narrow pieces of impassable terrain. It sort of split up my forces a bit and made it harder for me to deploy lots of things there. It was almost like it was 3 corridors from these 2 pieces of terrain that were sort of straddling my deployment zone and then sort of pointing towards the center of the board. So it made it a little bit harder for me to maneuver around that. In terms of other terrain, he had a hill on that flank, so he was sort of sitting up on that, and then we had one forest in the center, a little building next to that, and then another forest on the far other flank that had very little units sort of sitting over there. It was very much we could have played it on a 4x4. We really could have. It was a weird game. So he rolls first turn, and then I pray. Obviously, funny how people always catch some people by surprise with Bretonnium praying. I'm like, I'm praying, man. He's like, what? Oh, yeah, okay. And so he moves the dragon up pretty aggressively, sort of halfway across the deployment zone, out of line of sight, really, of my knights or the peg knights and that type of thing. And everything else sort of inches up. And then he actually moved one of the Glade Guard a full 5 inches up. And it actually meant in my first turn, I declared a charge. I charged with my peg knights. Not sure if it was a good idea in retrospect. He fled the charge, and so the archers just moved back, and then they rallied subsequently. But because they're flyers, in a failed charge, they still go a full 20 inches.
Yeah.
So
is it? Is that the rule of that?
Well, it is because their normal movement is 20. It's not doubled when they charge. It's just that's their movement.
Yeah.
So that's how the rule sort of works. It sounds counterintuitive, but in 6th edition, that's just how how it works. So yeah, they fail charge and they end up pretty much in the deployment zone for the end of my first turn. I just felt I maybe shouldn't have done that in retrospect. It felt like maybe it was probably a bit of a waste of my peg knights. I mean, I really do use them very aggressively. I'm usually using them as bait for something, or rather than as like the sort of flanking war machine hunters they should be. But yeah, so I probably didn't use them that well in this game because they proceeded to they fled a charge that ended up in a forest.
What was charging them when they get into the deployment? So like dryads or something, or
the dryads and the wild riders.
Because they were right near there.
Yeah. But because each unit was either side of them. The wild riders were the higher unit strength, so they fled away from them. Now they fled like 11 inches, but because it was almost 80 degrees, from across the board, like directly sort of almost horizontally across the board, they were still within 8 inches of the dryads. But he actually had some war dancers sort of in between where they'd landed, which meant it was a failed charge essentially because you got a unit in the way. So they were saved by the interceding Wood Elves. But yeah, so I apart from that ridiculous charge, I just sort of moved things up to try to close the gap a little bit. He hadn't done much damage on shooting because he's only got 2 units of
I was going to say there's not a lot.
guard and at long range they're not that scary really. Yeah. He doesn't have a huge amount of magic.
Not for you too, because you're 2-up saves and shit as well.
Yeah, exactly. 2-up save and then 6-up ward. It's just nice. Then his second turn, he charges the dragon into the knights errants that have sort of shifted up sort of between the two columns of impassable terrain. Straight in the front, they pass it terror checks and they actually hold in combat. I can't remember if I think I did lose the combat. But only by 1. I think he did quite a few wounds. I think that's right. He did 5 wounds, but because of my static combat res, I only lost by 2, and then I just saved the break test. I think, so that was okay. And then the rest of his other stuff just sort of holds the line. I suppose he just tries to take some shots and that type of thing. In response to his charge, I'd positioned the questing knight bus with the lord in it was sort of the one closest to that flank. I had the ground knights right on the outside, unfortunately, and then the realm in the middle, and then the questing knights on my right hand side. And the way I positioned them, I ended up that I almost could have got a charge with the questing knights into the flank of the dragon. And there were 2 sort of things that came from that. I don't know if we stuffed it up a little bit, really. I actually was going to just charge the character into the dragon, and I hadn't. I actually thought it was straight in, and we both were straight in. And for some reason, I just grabbed the line of sight marker, and it was just outside the line of sight on the angle, just by half a centimeter. And I was like, oh, okay.
So you had to do the whole bus then.
Because the challenge lord going into the dragon, I was actually, because he still had all the static combat res support from the knight errant unit. And I think he probably would have likely killed the highborn. The only thing was the 3-up ward save, actually. That's the only other consideration.
He hadn't failed it yet.
Because he hadn't failed at that point. I tried to. I think the first turn my bowman took some shots. 3s to hit. They very rarely get 3s to hit. +1 to hit with a large target. And short range. Had it moved. So these peasants were hitting on 3s. But didn't he roll any 6s to force him to take a ward save, unfortunately. But yeah, so he was just out of line of sight, and the unit was in line of sight. But I had this brain fart where I was kind of like, I think we couldn't remember whether this is probably a basic rule, really, and in retrospect, I knew this rule really, is that when you're charging, you can wheel once during the charge, but it doesn't have to be the start of the charge. It can be at any time in the move,
That's right. And it's a wheel, because you're measuring it. It's not night. You know how 8th was a 90-degree wheel? But that's not the case with this, is it? It's not limited either. I don't know if that would ever make a difference.
Yeah, it's not limited. No, it's not.
I mean, obviously, you have to have movement for it.
You have to have movement for the wheel.
Touch the target.
Touch it. Yeah, that's right.
You don't have to close, but you have to be able to touch it.
Yeah, that's right. But for some reason, in the moment, I think he was used to the 5th edition rules where I think you have to wheel first. I was just kind of like, I saw the line of sight for the wall wasn't
you
in,
mean
and I was
for but then you were like, then I can't, because you can't wheel because your other buses are next to it. Is that what you mean?
It was what the wheeling was about was because it was nothing to do with the other units. It was more because of the impassable terrain.
Okay, right.
I had to move forward before I could wheel to be able to hit the flank.
Clear it.
But they were still within line of sight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they should be able to do it, but you
so
guys
in retrospect,
didn't know
I just screwed up the rule.
Yeah.
It's just funny when you have someone else who's used a different rule, and then I didn't really bother to get the rule book out. I'm just that kind of guy. It's just like, whatever.
Oh no, totally, man.
Because that has major implications for the game, I guess. But at the same time, I guess the other reason why I didn't pursue it was because I felt like if that unit went into the flank of the dragon and the dragon
His
died,
wild raiders coming in.
no, but if the dragon was out, like the game, like I don't know.
Yes. Well, when you got a 600 point,
I
it
was
goes
kind of
in turn
like,
2.
we've set up this game. I don't want it finishing early. I want us both to enjoy the game, and I kind of don't want to. Yeah, I don't know. I was sort of like trying to play casually, and I just wanted to enjoy it and just have some fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what happens, after that. So I couldn't get that charge, and then I'd also my yeoman. He hadn't actually shot the yeoman very much. He was actually shooting at the knights, which meant all my yeomen were still alive. But after my first turn, I still left them as screening units. So I hadn't actually shifted them out of the way properly so that my knights could actually charge through, because it was just like a really dumb mistake. I'm used to the yeoman either
just
A, dying, or B, I've deployed them as a redirector. But there wasn't actually much I needed to redirect, because it was either just the yeoman, the dryads, or the archers. And then he did have the tree man, but the tree man had actually positioned a little bit further back, where it was sort of sitting between a forest and the building. I couldn't really get in there to redirect it anyway. But they did have an amazing turn of shooting, where I think one unit just missed everything. The second unit of 5 yeomen, I think I rolled 5 hits and then 4 wounds.
On the Glade Guard
killed half the Glade Guard unit. And then, that's right. The other unit killed 1 guy. So it was literally 5 elves were dead from mounted yeoman shooting. Which was like some incredible dice. But yeah, so then I should probably get a move on really. So the dragon actually breaks the errant. They flee off the board. The dragon actually then the following turn flies up behind my lance buses.
Oh, that's the picture?
That's the picture I showed you guys. Where it's kind of like, oh, this is a bad situation. I've got a dragon loose behind my lines. And he's done that, and then he's also tried to set up a trap for my questing knights that have continued to move forward using a bait of the dryads, and he's set up the wild riders to do a counter charge. They actually set them up a bit too close. Actually meant there was actually space for me to actually charge the wild riders directly with the questing knights. So it actually went straight in there. The dragon actually ended up hitting the grails in the flank, which is always a bad situation. That ended up being a really epic combat, where eventually we had the war dancers and the dryads also go into that unit.
Oh, jeez.
He actually fluffed a whole bunch of attacks. The grails held for, I think, 2 turns, and then I had one of the mounted yeomen go into the flank of the dryads.
Oh yeah.
Then I won the combat by like 4. The war dancers and the dragon both saved the checks, and the dryads fled, so they get chased down by the yeoman. That combat continues to go on for another 2 more turns before the grails are finally all dead.
Wow.
And then the tree man, I think I actually charged the tree man with a BSB in the realm unit. They did a couple of wounds, but they weren't really the unit for the tree man battle, unfortunately. They're not high enough strength. They don't have enough attacks. He passed his break test, and then he ended up beating them in combat, I think, a couple of turns later. So then they fled. The questing knights they actually do really well against the wild riders. The challenge lord does. I actually did 4 wounds against the noble on the stag, but I'd actually done 2. I actually elected to do 2 attacks against the noble and 2 against the stag.
Unit. Oh, okay,
the stag is a separate thing. It's got 3 wounds. The noble's got 2 wounds. So I did 2 wounds against both, and the noble's got a 6-up ward save that I forgot about, and he actually saves one of the wounds. So the noble's alive on 1 wound, and the stag was alive on 1 wound.
Oh, so frustrating. Yeah, I'll tell you about that.
So then that unit flees from combat. I failed to chase him down. The other unit of little dryads actually end up getting the charging in the rear of the questing knights because they're skirmishers. They can just charge anywhere, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
360 degrees.
They ended up holding that unit in place for 2 more turns. The Wild Riders rally, and then they come charging back in.
Sounds like a good game, though.
Yeah. So then they end up breaking the. I think I actually end up killing all the questing knights to a man, and then the Lord and the damsel by herself. They both break, but then they outrun the questing knight. They outrun the Wild Riders, and then they end up rallying in the last turn of the game. And I think it ended up being. I think it was like a 500 or 600 point loss to me in the end because I killed.
So you didn't end up getting the dragon then at all.
No. Couldn't time down. If I'd been able to get in the flank off in the first, because that's the thing about the dragon is what I've learned from other games with dragons is you either need to bait them out of position, and usually use peg knights to do that. Or if you can hold them down with something, then you can maybe hit it with something else. But once they're free behind your lines, they just pick whatever they want, and you're just not going to be able to get them unless you get lucky with a break test out of nowhere or something like that. They're really hard to tie down. They're so mobile. I was on song with guessing my ranges. I think the Dragonite. The first guess was like right on his head, but the model, the Forge War Dragon model with the rider, the head was still like a centimeter off the base. So I was like, damn it. And then
let's play AOS rules.
I know. And I guess right onto the stag, I think 2 or 3 times as well. But each time I would roll a scatter. And so like the trebuchet actually didn't really cause any wounds the whole game, even though I was guessing right on just because the dice just weren't helping. But yeah, anyway, so it was a fun game. The combat with the Growls was amazing. Like, I was actually really lucky to hang in for that many turns. I think there was probably 2 rounds of combat where he rolled an indiscriminate number of ones, so his dragons to wound rolls. Like he'd roll he'd get like 4 hits and then he'd roll 3 ones to wound or something. And we'd both be like, what the hell was in your
flank, wasn't he? Yeah.
So you would have had did you have like one guy fighting back? That was it, if that.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I got a bit of combat res my way because of the war dancers and the dryads, like being able to take some wounds off there where I could. Because the Growls actually do grind pretty well because they're strength 4, 2 attacks, initiative 5.
Yeah, right.
You know, when they're not charging,
especially against dryads, okay.
Yeah. And the war dancers are, when they're not charging, they're only strength 3. They're putting a lot of attacks, but you go to a ward save. So you know, they ended up, you know, being, if anything, helpful for my combat res. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, that was the game. It was an interesting game. It was one of those ones where I just felt like I made quite a few mistakes, really. I always feel like when I'm in a tournament, because often I don't play many games. Like, to be honest, guys, this is the first pickup game I played this year that wasn't in a tournament. And I feel like when I'm playing a weekend, I sort of get more to roll with this type of thing, I think, you know?
I can totally relate to that, given our game. And there's like, just with a new army, and when you're playing something I hadn't even played, it's just like, brain overload, and you just forget dumb stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
Anyway, well, that's probably a good segue for you guys to elaborate on how your battle went. I'm keen to hear. Because you didn't stream it this time.
No, and I was considering it, but I think I'd burnt myself out painting those great swords, and I'm going to be fucked putting the microphone stuff set up. But I want to get that happening at some point, but work it out. Andrew, you want to run through your list first, or just briefly?
I'm bringing it up. No. All right, I'll start. So, obviously I took my high elves, going with a bit of a mobile list. So I had my Lord running on a dragon. He was quite defensive, so he had his what is it, 4-up ward, rerollable, 3-up save, I think he had. And he also had the bounce spell that is it the ring? Yeah,
Ring of Corrin.
basically, yeah. So you can pick a unit and basically destroy any magic item.
Yeah.
So it's really good, especially against like dwarves. They've got like a kitted up axe, like a kitted up weapon. It just destroys the whole thing. So I had that running. Then I had a BSB who I didn't realize this. Me and Gommo are talking about this. How you can't really make a BSB fighty or defensive at all, just because you can't really take any other magic items.
Yeah.
So he was just running on a horse, but he did have the banner that gives you D6 to your combat res, which is a really, really good banner.
Awesome.
Bit expensive. Well, it's 80 points, but yeah, like it's really, really good.
Yeah.
And obviously that saved me quite a bit, as you'll find out. Top of that, I took a mage with the what is it? Is it high magic? Whatever the high elf one is.
Yep.
Level 2. I gave him, I think it was a silver 1, so he had +1 to +1 spell. So he had 3 spells. The only thing I found that was hard was it was a seer, so he could choose his spells also. So that was pretty good. But yeah, the only thing that sort of going back, I sort of chose some higher casting spells, and we can only throw 3 dice at it. I think I failed quite a few of my needing 11s and 12s, just throwing 3 dice at it.
Yeah, 3 dice is hard.
And then on top of that, I had what was I running? 10 archers, 2 units of silver helms. One was just stock silver helms, nothing in it, no command group. I had another unit of 6 silver helms. They were running the war banner, +1 combat res. I was running 6 dragon princes with the banner that gives you D3 dice, magic dice. So that was got quite a few magic dice in there, considering I only had one bloody mage.
Mage, yeah.
2 chariots, 2 eagles, and I was running a bolt thrower as well. So yeah, it was quite a mobile list. Did I say 10 archers? I had 10 archers in there.
Did, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Cool. That was my list.
Yeah. And then I took Empire, and I sort of was hoping we were going to end up playing the challenge stuff. So I was playing around with some funny stuff. So I ended up taking, especially after we did that army book review the other day, I swear I picked ones that we said no, we wouldn't pick.
Really?
Yeah, I think
we
we
learned
did.
Nothing.
Yeah. So I took Elector Count with so just on foot, but he had the Van Horst Speculum with the Sword of Sigismund and the White Cloak. So the idea then, if you can get in a challenge, you not only swap your stuff, your strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, but you also get +1. Was it +1 strength? But you always like strike first. So I thought that would be useful, just to be able to, obviously, especially because it's just a human. Not only you got, you'd probably against elves, it would actually be good as well. So that was just a bit of fun for him, hoping at some point, if we did play the scenario, which we'll get into in a minute, where you have to do challenges, I thought that'd be fun. I wanted to take a peg. That was like a non-negotiable. I just wanted to take my peg knight. So I ended up not having a BSB. So I was like, oh, who cares? And on him, I was playing around and ended up choosing that Sword of Fate, where it was, I guess Andrew played his card a bit early and sent me a picture of his army, not the list. And I saw the dragon. I went, fuck it. So I'll get this Sword of Fate, which is, it's, again, this totally would have to roll really good. But the Sword of Fate is you pick a large target or an enemy character, and then you wound them on a 2-up with D3 wounds, no armor save. So I thought, look, the only problem is I've only got 3 attacks. So it's like I have to roll really good on my 2 hits. But I guess the help to that would be the fact I took 2 magic users at level 2, level 1, but the level 2 had the was going to be heaven. So at least I knew I could try get rerolls, like a couple of dice rerolls if I was trying to get that. What's it called?
Yeah.
Whatever the level 1, the number 1 spell of that is. And that was the idea of that. Is like between those 2 characters, if I at least had 1 or 2 rerolls in the combat phase, maybe I could use that on, like you're saying, it's so easy to fluff like a 2-hit or, in the other guy's chance, like a, 2 wound roll or something, just see if that would work. For my other wizard, I was like, what am I going to take? Oh, and I was going to take like Fireball. What's that? What's the Fireball one? Whatever it was. I think in that review, we said, it's a must have, just take that. But I didn't.
Fire Ring or something?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but I didn't. I took the other one, the Ring of Volans, which was.
You took the Volans?
Yeah, which was like, you get to pick the law, but it's a random spell. And so I decided just to take death on the wizard just for fun. Again, another law we said you probably wouldn't take with Empire. But I was like, fire, but the number 1 spell for fire is the same as death, and it's the same casting value. So I went, fuck it, I'll take death just in case I rolled. There was a couple of other cool spells that if you rolled it. But I ended up on the Ring of Volans, I actually rolled that. Which one was it? It was the 2d6 strength 4, no armor save one.
It's really good.
And because it's a bound spell, level 10, it's like, it's actually quite good one day. It was just
it's got a lot of heavy armored cavalry too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then, so they're the character setup. So lots of like, hey, if I roll good, it's really good. If I don't, they're all shit. They're just humans that are going to get killed. Anyway, so then 10 crossbowmen, which they ended up just being, because I painted them, and I ended up, after I changed some things around, I needed to just fill some points. I put them in. But I took the handgunners because I couldn't afford, I wanted to take the Hochland. But I couldn't have another character, so I ended up having to take the 10 handgunners just to get the marksman, so I could take the Hochland. I'm just trying to take all the little fun stuff.
Yeah, but
absolutely. Yeah, but it doesn't work out that way. Then huntsman, and then I got I took the great swords, 20 great swords. Did I have a stand? Did I have magic? No, they're just great swords basically, with 1 detachment of halberdiers, and then a block of 24 spearmen with another halberdier block. They have the Griffin Standard, and then 5 Pistoliers, Hellblaster, Mortar, and Steam Tank. So I was just playing with just random stuff. And I think, so that was the list. I mean, to me, I didn't have a plan. It was just a bit of fun. And if we got challenges, obviously, just to see what happens with these characters, really.
Was it regular Steam Tank, or did you have anything special?
Nah, just the
Engineers platform
one. No, just
I think the Steam Tank added probably an hour to the game time.
Yeah.
It's like what is it? 4 pages of rules.
5 pages of rules.
Oh god.
I'm never taking it again. But anyway, it was. But so we took the CanCon pack, and I said to Andrew, "What should we do? Do you want to roll or whatever?" You just said you'd rather not do the complex one, because something simpler but not battle line. And so I don't know if I talked you into it, but I went, let's do number 1, which was the challenge one.
Oh, you did get the challenge one.
Persuaded me. So
we thought we'd have a bit of fun and just do so basically, just so everyone knows, this one of the scenarios is basically you have to challenge. You can't. It's just and it's a 20-0 system, but there's 5 bonus points up to 20. So you get to 25 if you like tabled your opponent and everything. And I can't remember the exact ones, but basically if you win 1 to 2 or whatever it is, or 3 challenges, you get 1 bonus point. Whatever it is. If you win 3 or 4, you get another 1. If you win more challenges than the other guys, the other army, then you get another 1. If you win a challenge, if you kill the general, you get 1, and then something else to do with the general. Can't remember. I think maybe if you're general, or if you get in a challenge with the general, I think it's 1 as well. It's some weird thing like that.
The challenge,
yeah. So it's something like that anyway. So so that was it. So, but apart from that, it's battle line set up. So, and then just the annoying thing with this, which in hindsight, it was fun and annoying, is so I rolled up, I've got this battle mat that I'm trying to flatten out. And so before Andrew came, I'd put my scenery just all over like tiny
like
little
weighting
scatter
it.
terrains, waiting
Yeah.
on the little bits. And then when he came over, we sort of moved it around again, but in hindsight, we had a lot of terrain on there.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, it was quite a busy board.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
Okay.
it was a bit
It kind
fun.
of screwed both of us up.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So Andrew had to go through there was two forests close to each other, plus then just like cramming in to get to me, like between that and a hill. And then I had, it was a bit of a disaster terrain wise, but it is what it is. Yeah. Do you want to go through your like deployment a little bit, or just want to quickly? I mean, we'll go pretty quick, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, well, my deployment, like I'm sure Gommo will go through his. So I just felt like very with my list picking flanks. So try and think he was Empire. I'm like, well, he's gonna want to keep a lot of units together near his general's leadership. And he had his big great swords. I didn't want to borrow that. He had his big unit spears with the Griffin standard or whatever it was. I didn't want to borrow that.
And they were in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I sort of started just throwing little bits and pieces down. I threw a few bits in the middle, just trying to see where he was going. I had a couple of pieces of chaff, like eagles are really mobile, so I put them in positions where they weren't going to be able to be shot at, but I could still move them to where I wanted to by probably turn 2, turn 3 sort of thing, where they were going to be useful. So I think I had enough pieces where I was able to bide my time. So basically, once I realized where he was going, as he'll say, a lot of the stuff was in his center. So I started moving mainly to my left flank, which was Gommo's right flank. So I basically had a unit of silver helms with my good banner, the D6 battle combat res on the left. I had 2 eagles next to that. I had a chariot in there. And then
the Phoenix, and then the Dragon Princes.
The dragon, yeah. Sorry, the Dragon Princes were more towards the center, but there was enough room where I could move them off to the left. So there was a lot of, basically everything was kind of middle left, but pretty much movement where I could just go straight up the left flank. In the middle I had basically my bolt thrower. And then to my right, I had a unit of silver helms and my
one other
stock
chariot,
standard,
and then your archers.
Yeah, archers. So yeah, it was basically, left and right flank with not much in the middle. That was how I deployed.
Yeah. So I'd started dropping. So this is the first dumb thing. I was actually quiet. I think it's just too much to remember. New army, everything's different. The steam tank and I was like, and the funny thing is the handgunners, I was like, I totally not so much forgot about the Hochland, but I was trying to remember that they had the D6 range, and he put his archers down, and for some reason, but they were a bit back from the thing. And I went, I'm going to put the handgunners right up here and then shoot them first turn, forgetting that obviously I had the Hochland in there. So my handgunners were the first thing I dropped, wasn't it? Yeah. And it was across from your archers on the left, my left flank, which ended up being, never had a character there. Like that Hochland was wasted. I was like, fuck's sake. You even said, just change him over to your crossbowers. No, I've already put him there. Because I ended up putting the crossbows on the other side, which again, they were pretty useless. But it is, anyway, these are the dumb things you do. But yeah, there wasn't much space unless so on the right flank, there was a big hill, which is where I ended up putting the crossbows and the what's it called, the volley gun. And one of my death was in the crossbowers as well, just because that quite short range. And by then I knew he's everything fast was coming down that flank. So I thought, well, I've got these death magic there, and maybe I can, basically I was going to end up using that mage's chaff if I have to. So he was there, unless I wanted to put other units, I guess, on that right flank on the other side of the hill. I just didn't. By then I'd put everything in the middle. It's pretty much where I could fit, and I couldn't even fit. Like I had to put the detachments like one behind the other because there just wasn't enough room. How
Yeah,
I'd
the
set
detachments
terrain up.
sorta-
Yeah, it was just
yeah.
shit.
'Cause you
Shit
only had
deployment.
one detachment for each of those two blocks.
Yeah,
didn't
but there
you?
was just between. I think there was what was that? I had that castle thing, and then there was like
Yeah.
forest, and then a couple of
Oh, because all your
impassables.
bloody terrain going
Yeah,
on.
it
Oh,
was-
Yeah.
God.
yeah.
All these little impassables that were.
Yeah,
Little
it was a bit
impassables to
silly,
us.
but anyway, we'll learn that next time. And it just wasn't as obvious because we you know what you do, you get your army out and you put it on the table, so you sort of don't. Like it's probably better if you take everything off and then put the the terrain down. But because we had all
Yeah.
this stuff on the table, we did move stuff around, but you didn't realize until you took everything back off and it's quite close. But in any case, yeah, I mean I was way out of position. And then Steam Tank was in the middle, but again,
Yeah.
we'll find out. It got, turn one was funny. But anyway, I was pretty much out of position. But the only thing is he was so fast and I knew we were talking. Like I knew he was going to have to get in some challenges. So that was the thing. I was like, oh, well, you never know. We'll see what happens. He'll come down, and hopefully I can get in some challenges and see what happens. I might be able to, ask the dice roll here, or not. But that was it. I didn't really have much more of a strategy after that because I was like, yeah, he's just going to burn down here and just destroy my right flank because what I have out there, pistol,
Pistoliers,
it was the crossbows, the volley gun and pistoliers that weren't going to hold up against that
Pistoliers.
coming down
Yeah.
there. So anyway, did you get to? No, I got first turn.
Yeah, you got first turn. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm in the middle. I'm trying to scramble to try and reposition. So like I've reformed my spearmen so they could start heading to the right at least because they were the rightmost big unit and they had my general in it. So that was sort of good. The steam tank missed so, in my brain, I'm like, you can go full steam points because I'm not injured, am I? And I'm like, because that's not the rule. The rule is you got to roll 5 dice and then you got to get under your hull points. And then I rolled 3 5s and 2 6s.
Yeah.
My God.
Must unlucky. Straight up.
Straight up, like did, I don't know, 11 damage to my steam tank.
What?
Yeah.
It starts
And
with
then
what, 26
25
points
or
or 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was shit. I think I was able to shoot the cannon that turn, but I think it came up way short.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to shoot his bolt thrower maybe or something. Yeah.
I think it plonked in. You misfired on the bounce.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It plonked and it just got stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
My handgunners probably didn't do a whole lot to his archers. I did get. I'm trying. Was it first turn? Yeah, I had my hunters in the forest. And was that turn one that I killed your bolt thrower crew? Yeah. So five huntsmen. What are they called?
Yeah.
Shot his. Yeah, randomize it. I think I got 2 hitting his crews, but they both wounded and killed his bolt thrower. So that was good.
So before I could even shoot.
Yeah.
That was a big deal too.
Yeah. So that was cool. But apart from that, I think I might have done the odd damage here or there, but you were probably too far out for my volley gun and stuff.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
What did you shoot at with the Hochland?
Nothing, because there wasn't anything. Like I think I even forgot I think I was just shooting it as a handgun.
Yeah. I think you rolled and then you were like, well, don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I rolled the 10.
I feel like you'd still take out a champion or something like that.
He didn't have a champ. I think I asked. You didn't have a champ in the archers, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And I couldn't see any other unit that he could shoot.
Not where they were. No.
Oh,
so
man.
That was a waste. Yeah. Anyway, so then you came storming down.
Yeah, so I just basically moved up everything on the left flank a bit. So I was trying to sort of get in position. So like I was saying before, my Dragon Princes was sort of left center, but there was a bit of a gap between 2 forests, so I moved them left. I basically, the forest that was like to my right flank had his unit of huntsmen, 6, completely disregarded that unit completely. I was just like, no, just don't worry about it. I didn't think they're going to do much, but yeah, we'll see where that goes. And then basically my right flank, I was shooting his handgunners with my archers. I might have pipped off a few. I moved up my silver helms into
I think you
charge
wiped
range.
off a whole back rank between your
Yeah.
archers and
The chariot
the
fires as well,
chariot.
yeah. So that
yeah.
that moved up and fired as well. And then I think it was that turn I misfired on my misfired. I miscast on my wizard. Couldn't shoot that turn or the next, which was a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
That was my turn.
Yeah, pretty much. And then so then I went, well, I've got to stop this somehow. Like I can't stop the flyers, right? Because they're just, well, not so much stop the flyers, but I did. So I threw my death wizard out in front of his dragon because I thought at least someone's going to attack him. But if he attacks him, at least it sort of stops that overrun right into my other guys, if you know what I mean. Try and just speed bump it a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I put I was wondering what to do with the pistols because I was umming and ahhing whether or not to sort of, just like get him out of the way and just start shooting. But then I just went, I don't know, like he's just going to be on me because he's got the chariot behind them with those dragon princes. And the silver helms are there.
Yeah, so mobile.
Yeah, so I ended up putting them just in the what were they in front of?
There was two eagles on the left flank. Well, there was just
much.
options sort of everywhere.
So the crossbows went because by then I think you must have killed 5 crossbows at some point. So there's only 5 left. So they went off the hill to get in the way as well. The pistoliers got in the way, and then I charged my archers. Yeah, charged the huntsman into the dragon princes because I thought, and this is when I forgot he had the banner. He told me about the banner, but I went, cool, I'll just go straight in on the flank there and hold him, like pin them, like hopefully, you never know, I might hold this unit there at least. But in that combat, I forgot about that. He just beat me on combat res by so they ran. You didn't chase them, hey, that's right.
Nah,
so
didn't want to go in that forest.
No, you didn't want to go in the forest. So like at least I think I only lost one of them or whatever. But they ran.
Yeah.
There was a few left still. Then I did I'd landed a hit on your archers, and I think there was 2 left or 3 left with the
killed
mortar.
Quite a few,
So that was good. And then the Hellblaster shot was that when I shot your
silver helm?
Silver helms and wiped 4 or 5 of them off.
Yeah.
As well. So that got
took me
shot
down
off.
to champion and the mage.
That's
was
right.
Was that a short range for the Hellblaster?
Nah, it was it was just out actually. It was about 13 inches, wasn't it?
Wow, I think we had much damage. Yeah,
it was. I rolled all 3. We got all 3 through, which was pretty good.
That must have helped. Yeah,
and then that was pretty much. I'm trying to think if anything else was on my turn too in terms of damage. The steam tank tried to fire and misfired and blew. Sorry, it didn't misfire. It went to shoot, and then I misfired the cannon and rolled a 1, so blew the cannon up for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
So.
Man.
And the misfire of a cannon means you have to. Yeah, you also have to roll on the damage. So not only do you misfire the cannon, you also have to damage yourself. And I got it down to 9 hull points. So by turn 2, it was on 9 hull points.
Being a dwarf player, like with all my misfires and stuff that I usually do, I'm just like sitting back, just like, yes, it's happening to somebody else.
It was funny. And then then you unloaded your charges, which went all over the shop.
Yeah. So as you said, my archers were down to nothing.
But you passed your panic test. This is the thing.
I did. Yeah. They're very brave elves. They loved it. They love to die. So on the right hand side, I went for a double charge with my chariot and silver helms, and I think I took the chariot to. I think he did a standard shoot. Actually, took quite a few.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was down to. I think it was like down to 1 wound by the end of it. But anyway, I think he passed a panic check as well. He ended up on the left of the handgunners, and the silver helms ended in like my right.
Yeah.
And then on the left flank, the dragon went into the mage, which was right next to it. And I think I took the
You took the eagle and the the silver helm mage into the crossbowers.
Yeah. And was it the chariot went into the pistol?
The chariot went into the pistoliers. Yep.
Yep.
And then the other eagle went into the volley gun. So it was
Yeah.
just
So
like charges galore. I was
just
like,
all over the
God.
shop. The only problem I had with that was I kind of blocked myself in trying to go down this skinny. Well, I wasn't a super skinny left flank, but I did have too much there. And my dragon princes were kind of just stuck behind all this.
They couldn't. They had to wait till all that stuff got out of the way to actually get through. Yeah,
which kind of in hindsight wasn't the best way to utilize them. So yeah, it was basically, you know, Gommo was coming from one direction, and I had like these layers of people where else I probably could have spread them out a little bit more, rather than blocking myself. Yeah, so the what magic I couldn't. There was no magic.
No, you didn't have magic. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no shooting basically from where I.
So you did have that spell. So your dragon has this. He's got that destroy magic item or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could drop.
That's what I'm petrified about, because my only hope here was that I get some challenges off, but I need these magic items, so I'm throwing all the dice at that bound spell for whatever it was.
Yeah. So I think you had 3 dice, and obviously I was just hoping for a
shitty
miscast on the dispel or the fail. So yeah, I took out the dragon, challenge, took out the mage quite easy, obviously. I ended up I overran, didn't I? And I overran quite a bit, so I ended up on the other side of the hill. I think the eagle.
Oh, so I should say that, in my turn, I put my Pegasus behind my big blocks and just kept him back, because I just knew this was coming.
Just like a threatening sort of thing,
And I knew I wanted to get a charge off on the dragon or something, but I just wanted to make sure I was back so he couldn't get me straight away. So,
Well, it's just like one of those things, stuff it,
it's fun.
You're gonna end up in combat at some point, and
exactly.
what are you going to do? Just sit there and look at each other?
Well, that's the thing. We were on either side of a hill, and we're like, you could just sit back and not make those overrun, but it's like, I think this is fun. Let's do it. So we overrun. I was probably baiting him on too, but yeah.
So I think pretty much everything died.
Yeah, the handgunners got destroyed, and you overran the chariot.
Ran the chariot.
The eagle took out the hand.
The volley gun.
The other ones took out the crossbows. Except the chariot didn't get the pistoliers. Did you kill 1 or 2, and then I held my break?
Oh yeah, no, that's right. Yeah,
so that was pivotal.
Sorry, yeah. I rolled 1, I think, on the impact hits.
Impact hits.
Yeah. It was just
So these pistoliers now are blocking, not only keeping the chariot there, but these dragon princes can't get through, really. Like,
the dragon prince is still blocked.
Yeah, they're just sitting back there. Just chilling.
Yes, looks like I'm just looking at a picture. You must have only killed two pistoliers, so they were champions in that one. And then your other eagle that took out my crossbowers overran right in front of my big block was standing right in front of my block of spearmen with my general in it.
Yeah, because they turned to face, didn't they? They were trying to get around.
Yeah. So then I go into my turn 3. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
So my great swords are right. So my great swords are pretty much they're trying to get over there as well, but they're like way out of position, and that's where my level 2 was. So I pulled my level 2 out. I might have done that in actually the second turn. I pulled him out, and he was sort of like hiding behind this tower trying to get off spells.
It's in the worst spot, for me.
So at least, even though he could be seen by some of his archers, I was like behind heavy cover, long range, like he was hitting on 7. So I was I felt sort of safe to sort of put him out there. And then So I had the Death Mage who had like the level 1 spell, but it was this guy that had the Ring of Volan. So he had the death. He had this other 12-inch. That other one's a 12-inch spell range, whatever it is.
Yeah, like the bubble within 12 inches.
Yeah. Sorry, that could have been the life spell. Sorry, that was the Heavens one. That was the 12. Was it? No, I can't remember. No, it is that. It was the death one, because it was a strength 3 hit. within 12 or whatever it was.
No armor save, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't that's what was in the Ring of Volans. It was I'd rolled up in Heavens #1 spell and the Thunderbolt one, which is the 2d6 strength 4. Yeah, so that's I'm getting them confused, which I almost got them confused in the game as well, but yeah, worked it out. So yeah, he was near this tower, which is where his chariot and those silver helms on his right flank were, so he could try and get those spells off just to try and take out something. But yeah, then I sent my Peg Knight captain into the dragon. So I was ahhing, should I try to take out one of his other characters, like his BSB, or like go in that type of challenge? But I just went, nah, fuck it, we'll just go in and this is at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, I had to make a selection. So
for your fate sword thingy.
Yeah. So I chose the dragon for that. So and
makes
knowing
sense.
that the chance, I would have had to roll 3 because he's got 6 wounds. So I really need to get 3 hits through in order to do 3 2-up wounds with D3, and I might get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Before he kills
yes, yeah, basically, yeah. The spell, I did take out your silver helms with that spell.
Took out 4
on the right flank, so that mage getting up there did do some damage. So now on his right flank, he's got 1 silver helm left and 1 chariot on 1 wound, and he's got 2 archers. That's it on that flank. And they're like, they're not dead. None of them are dead. Yeah, it was so frustrating. But anyway, and then the steam tank misfired. So I had 1 shot.
What?
So this
again.
No, sorry, that was turn 3. So turn 2 of the steam tank, all I did was move, basically, I think. And then to try and get back into position. And then to turn 3, I blew himself up.
Oh, okay.
Not blew himself up, but like got down to 9.
The
the mortar was about to be killed by his, either the chariot or this silver helm that's left. So he had 1 shot left, and I went, well, I'll go for the archers because there's 2 of them. And I only killed one. Like I landed right on it, I think, or close to it, and still only killed 1. So there's 1 archer left, and he passed his panic check.
Loves it.
And then I think we drew the combat with the pistoliers and the chariot. Like I think I lost 1 pistolier, but they were still hanging around. So I was like, man,
they loved it.
Yeah. And then my Peg Knight, swing. I only got 2 hits, so I caused 4 wounds on the dragon, and then got proceeded to get destroyed.
It did 4 wounds. That's actually
it's not too bad.
Not bad.
Nah, it wasn't terrible. No.
Yeah. So got him down to 2 balloons left, but he got eaten.
Damn.
And then the high elves.
Was that in a challenge, by the way?
Yeah. Well, we have to challenge. Yep.
So that was my
That was my 3, but then your 3 was like you repositioned. Your silver helm dude went into my mortar.
My lone silver helm. I think what was it? Yeah, so I was blocking myself with the chariot, so the lone silver helm had to go in. He didn't do too bad. He ended up because he won, didn't he? I think combat and overrun.
Yes, went off the table. Yep.
Yeah.
So my mortar's dead. Yep.
Yeah, so the mortar was dead.
And this is you repositioned your dragon on the hill to get a breath weapon off.
Yeah, so I turned my dragon. So I killed you last turn. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this turn.
On my turn.
Yeah, on your turn. So I went around, repositioned the dragon, did a breath attack and took out
like half the unit, maybe close to it.
This is another probably biggest mistake of the game for me was not taking into account. I remember at the start you were telling me about your lord, and I was just like, whatever. So I was kind of like, I got a dragon, what are you gonna do? So I didn't position him well. I'll just say that much. So it was kind of in the not in the flank, but it was kind of on a 45, trying to maximize the breath weapon.
Yeah.
Not really taking into account
and
exactly
my
where
general's
he was.
on the front right there. Yeah. Which failed the lookout, sir, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah, you did. Failed the lookout, sir.
But I didn't wound him, or I saved it with my 5-up ward or something.
Yeah. So yeah, that was turn 3.
Yeah. There was. Oh, you finally killed the chariot though as well. With the pistoliers.
Oh, the
with
pistoliers?
the chariot.
Yeah.
Because your Silver Helmet mage went in the flank.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were up there, weren't
they? Yeah. And so then my turn 4, top of 4, I charged my general out of the unit into the dragon and declared a challenge. Because I have to.
Great.
So,
I love it.
Yeah. And then my huntsman's come out of the bush again after rallying and now get in the way of this dragon. Yeah, there's 4 of them.
Oh,
left.
yeah, they're in there, all right.
And I got them in the way of his dragon princess, so now he can't get past again. What sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, he has to charge.
Haven't got anywhere.
They're like the bane of my existence. Oh, they're stuck. They're stuck behind all this crap in front of me. So I'm just like, oh.
And then, so I haven't been describing this, but my poor detachments, like the only route they had to get close to their parent unit, which is the spearmen, was to go through the forest. So now it's turn 4 and they finally made it.
They're slowly just going like 2 inches at a time.
Bullshit, that rule. But anyway. So, and then this is I actually went 3 steam points of my steam tank to get it close as well, even though I had to roll under 9, and I did without blowing. So now he's still on 9 hit points, but he's now getting close to potentially being able to do a charge the next turn or 2 if I can not blow it up. That's
because it hasn't got cannon.
I don't have a cannon, so I've just got to try and get it into
cannonless steam tank.
Had it contributed in any way to the battle at this point? No.
I don't think it killed anything.
Provided laughs.
It gets even better in turn 6, And then so my wizard trying to take pot shots. Oh yeah, I do a spell off because my wizard's still hiding behind this watchtower thing.
Yeah.
And gets a spell off and destroys his chariot. So at least I got rid of that out on his right flank. And then, so then this is where we need some clarification with the rules. So we go in, right, with the Van Horst speculum in a challenge, and we read the rules and it just says enemy. So I chose the dragon to swap stats with. And we were reading it. I looked in the FAQ, there's nothing about it. And it just says enemy. It doesn't say character. It doesn't say...
For the remainder of the challenge.
And that's the other ruling part, the remainder of the challenge.
Yep.
So that's how we ruled that one initially, not knowing that might even become even more weird. So anyway, so we did that.
So that part was not too bad.
Sorry.
But yeah, it got weirder.
Well, are you looking something up?
I'm just looking at it. So. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think I've done the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's why none of us even, I don't think we questioned that. We just went, I think it's right.
Yep.
The only thing we questioned was, can I even charge out of it? Like, we were like, can we charge out of a unit? Because we were like, that in 8th edition we can. And then, I did find it. Because I was like, I hope so, because this is it. This is the only thing I've got
what
left.
I'm banking on.
Yeah. So anyway, he goes in, Van Horst kills the dragon.
Yeah.
So
because they had 2 wounds left. Yeah.
Yeah, they had 2 wounds left.
Yeah,
so now this is the grey area. We're in a challenge. So turn 4, we go into High Elves turn 4. His chariot comes in and charges me. We're in a challenge. What stats do I have? And so we're like, because it says to the end of the challenge, I've got dragon stats, but the dragon's dead.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? So we diced it.
Man.
So
yeah,
do I revert back to the high elf stats now and not the dragons?
Like the Lord, who was garbage.
So we diced it and I got the dragons for the rest of the challenge.
Oh, really? You kept the dragons?
Yeah. So, but I wasn't sure what
it's very grey, like, because it says your enemy, but then it says for the remainder of the challenge. But then I'm like, well, the dragon's dead, but
yeah.
But it also says for the remainder of the challenge. It doesn't say who you're fighting, sort of thing.
And like the challenge rules just say that if you're in a challenge with a ridden monster, you can choose which to attack and stuff. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, don't know. Don't know. It basically helped me not lose the game.
It's a
but
very hard one.
Yeah, I
I
don't
reckon
know.
that's very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really, yeah.
And I guess the other thing was, and I mean, Andrew called this, and I didn't argue because it favoured me. He didn't get any impact hits or anything from his chariot because we're in a challenge.
Yeah, well, you're in a challenge.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that right? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was happy with that. I was like, cool, that's fine. So we went in with the combat res, but it didn't
I just got the flank. That was it.
Yeah, that's all you get. Yeah.
But I think what happened is I actually
man.
won the round and your chariot ran off, didn't it?
Yeah. Ran off all right.
That is a really hard one. Yeah. I don't think there's any real. I don't know. You'd have to really go searching to see if there's a clarification of that at all, but I don't think there would be.
Nah.
Because I think you could. There's definitely an argument for both.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And look, I was probably happy to take the elf stats by then because I'd killed the dragon, but it was still like,
I feel like a dice roll was the way to go.
I think it's fair.
It's a great. There's an argument for both. So you're swapping the stats with the enemy, which kind of says, all right, well, you're attacking somebody else now, but then because it's kind of saying for the remainder of the challenge, it's like, well,
it feels like it's like you get this, and then for the remainder of the challenge,
exactly,
it's just weird.
I kind of.
Yeah, I mean, conceptually, I feel like the little mirror, it's whatever you're fighting.
Exactly.
It's focused on the noble now, but
Yeah.
That's what the dice declared, so that's the way you play it.
Wow, it's like 11 o'clock at night, so it's just like, oh, whatever, let's just dice it. It's just,
And then by then, I'm trying to think. I'm just looking. I think, your guys. I can't remember who charged who, but at some point, the remainder of my spears ended up, and my halberds ended up in combat with your mage, and your silver helm guy left over. And I can't remember if did I charge? I can't remember.
I feel that you did. I feel did I rally and turn around or something, or
yeah.
But
in any case, they got. So we're getting into turn 5, 6 here. So I'm trying to just remember. I think eventually my general killed your general.
Yep. Yeah, you did
in the challenge.
I did. Oh, with dragon stats,
with dragon stats.
Yeah.
And so because his chariot ran off from that first one, and I think I can't remember if it rallied or not.
It would have been like strength 7, right?
It did.
Yeah, because
you got +1.
Always strike first. Yeah, that's right.
I had a 4-up bar. I did have 4-up ward.
Yes, that's the thing. You had the 4-up ward, so trying to get through that.
I got a feeling it took 2 turns, was it?
Oh, yeah. Like, 3 or 4 rounds of combat.
Yeah. Two full turns,
Yeah. I must have charged, with my spearmen and the detachment because they're dead in the next screenshot, and then I overran the spearmen into your BSB unit, which has the bloody banner.
The +6 banner.
So now the Dragon Princes are finally in combat, but Dragon Princes, sorry. But I'm basically in combat with his BSB, which has that banner. So the mage and the one silver helm, they fled and they got away, and so they're running. And that's when I overran into the Dragon Princes. And then your bloody other silver helm over on the right just ran off. So I couldn't kill him.
Got to save those points.
And his one archer is now hiding behind the hill over on the other table quarter, so I can't get him either. So then. Turn 5, I think. You did rally. No, you didn't rally your mage. Hey, they still
they kept running.
They kept running.
So and I had a mage.
You rallied the chariot.
Yeah.
So you've got an eagle, your dragon princes, and the chariot out there against my spearmen.
Yeah. It didn't seem like I had a lot, but I think my points were tied up.
In that unit.
The 2 units that only had 1 guy left.
But even with the dragon, that banner just got me. Like it just, I didn't have many spearmen left. I had like 15 or something at the beginning of the combat, but you were killing 3 or 4 at a time or something, or 2, whatever. But then I had the griffin standard, but because I only really had
it's
2
becoming less
to
effective.
1. Yeah, it was getting less and less, and he was rolling. I think the last combat you rolled a 5 or something on that D6 combat res.
Yeah.
So yeah, my spearman ended up breaking and getting taken out. I'm trying to remember did you just kill them or overrun and get them? I can't
think
remember.
I overran.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That's pretty much getting to the end of the game. Basically, my turn 6 I remember going, should I try and ram my steam tank into, I think it was something, and then I blew it up. So there was 300 points. I shouldn't have done it.
And we'll clarify, I did no damage.
Yeah.
No damage to this steam
damage.
tank. Nothing.
It blew it up.
Blew itself up.
Yeah. And then your mage guy didn't rally again, but they didn't end up off the table, but they were right on the edge, and that was pretty much
they were
the
like
game.
an inch off or something. Yeah.
So I had basically the only thing I had left on the table was the great swords, my general, and their detachment with my wizard in it. And he had his dragon princes, 1 eagle and 1 chariot, but the other guys were running. But he had all these little 1 units, 1 people.
Yeah, I
left
had
and
1
some of the
silver
others.
helm and 1 archer.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, but when we added the
definitely.
points up, it was you were only like 100 above. Hey,
It was very close. Yeah.
And then when we added up the actual scenario points, he won way more challenges than me, but I won a challenge. I won a challenge, so I got 1 point. I won a challenge with a general, and I killed the general, so it was like 13, and he got 13 as well.
Wow, so 13 all.
Yeah, 13.
Yep.
13 all. Wow.
It was bloody. There wasn't a lot left.
Yeah. It was funny. It was. I guess it lived up to what I hoped with picking those funny items and just going, this will be funny. And obviously Andrew agreed to do a lot of that by just going, yeah, I'll go in there, I'll fight that. And the scenario, because a different game you wouldn't do those things, or you would have been a headgear, or just like his dragon could have just taken out the rest of my army, just taking different. You wouldn't have gone into certain units, if you didn't need to. You wouldn't have taken that challenge. Oh, I guess you probably forgot about the Van Horseman one, but
yeah, but that was
But you probably wouldn't have overrun. I don't reckon above that. There's probably no need to overrun and put yourself into a position where you would get my charge. You know what I mean? You would have probably just gone, no, I'll wait a turn, and then I'll come around and get my own charge off.
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, but who knows?
I don't know. Sometimes, like it. You get those games, so it's just like a standoff, and then like sometimes just like
just do it anyway.
Yeah, because that's kind of what we're doing. Like my dragon was staying back. It's just like one of those points. One of us was just going to be like stuff it, and then that's when it was. It was just like, well, I'm overrunning. Let's just see where I go.
Yeah,
and that just happened to end up there. So it just
Yeah, but it's good. It was good. It was fun.
It was fun.
It's a fun scenario in that it's just, there's no question about it. It's like, oh, we're in combat. Yep, you have to declare challenges. You've got to so that was pretty cool. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like that it does bring some ideas to lists where, you've got to, think about that. So that was good.
It's exciting for CanCon, knowing that things like that, it adds a bit more flavor to the game, I suppose. A bit more fun. Without being too sideshowy.
Yeah, it wasn't complicated. It wasn't a complicated scenario where you had to do all this stuff. It was just,
I guess it's building on a well understood concept already, and you just have to track it a little bit.
It's right up fantasy's alley too, like in terms of the storytelling and these guys just like fighting dragons.
One of the most thematic elements of fantasy, that not many other games really have, is that idea of calling a raw challenge and having generals fight it.
Anyway, we have been going. This has turned into a big episode, but that's good. Hey, but that was fun. I do have one. I might just kick into the listener questions and we can wrap it up. What do you think?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
And we don't have to go into too much depth because we're so late. But basically, we did. Brush Knights hit us up on Twitter and said, because I asked what questions you want to. Us to answer it. He said, what scenery kits would you like to see come back, given all the chat about old kits coming back? Is there any scenery ones that you didn't? I didn't get any really, so I like a lot of the ones, but I just don't know all their names. That's my issue. I know there were some good kits.
No, yeah, I don't. The only one I ever got was the fences.
Oh, I've got the fences. Yeah. So I actually
I
have
really like the fences.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
Actually, they're really good.
Yeah.
I
What was the actual manor though that had all the
The
houses and
fortified manor.
stuff?
Yeah.
Is that what it's
manor.
called?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool. The only thing is
That
I
was
wrote
good.
that down in the notes and I thought that's what I'd probably want to get, but it'd cost a lot. But then I thought, are they really better than some of these other ones that, you print out these days? You know what I mean? Like some of them look so cool. Some of the other.
Yeah. A lot of it got the same theme, like they're going down that
Mm.
Mordheim route.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
but nah, definitely. I think the fortified manor is like the classic, like that tower is, and the little hut, or you can put them together.
You put them
That's
together.
just like, yeah.
And I'd probably get one of those. I mean, I wrote here that Witch Fate Tower sorcery. There's a couple of them that
Tower
Death Knell,
sorcery.
Teth something. Like there's a couple of
Yeah.
those round towery type ones. That
Yeah,
are
like the
pretty cool.
ruined one as well, which is
Yeah,
kind of cool. The Dreadstone Bligh, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Even the forest. I don't know. Did they get rid of the forest?
They've got a slightly different version of it, maybe, because you buy it now still, because I think Sylvaneth still have rules for it.
Yeah, they changed it to the
Got some random.
It's like just
the ring
doesn't have a
where
base.
the three trees sort of touch each other's roots.
It's probably a little bit too big, that unless you're going to separate it. But
yeah, it's really designed for the rules that Sylvaneth have, I think, more than applicable to fantasy.
But it's a good point though. Like you forget about the cool auxiliary stuff when you think about the old kits come back or new army. But like some of this stuff is just giving you good scenery too, because like they do make good stuff. So.
Well, what do you guys think about? So with forests in general, because the Citadel Forest, I mean, I do. There are elements that I really like about it, and the base is really cool. But with the individual trees that go in bases, do you find that's actually harder to play around with?
Well, I've made. I mean, do you know mine? Oh, Josh hasn't played on my ones.
I haven't seen, but I think I saw photos of it where you've got your multiple trees on a single base, and you just push it around the forest space.
Yeah, so I've got
that seems a lot more convenient.
Yeah, I've got 4. I made 4 copies of the footprint of the Citadel one, and they're just. And then there's 2 little MDF ones which have 2 or 3 forests on each of them, and then that way you can move them around and just take them off, put them back on. But I feel like I like to see forests on the table, and I'd prefer even more trees if you could. And I was even after that game that we just played with the shit number of terrain that I put on the board, I was thinking like it'd be cool to sometimes have scattered terrain that is just there, and that's just there for scenery. Like it's just like if you end up walking through it, just move it. But it sort of makes the battlefield look cool. And but it would be annoying for other people who don't know that they'd be you might forget and go, oh, that's impassable. But you're like, no, these, I don't know, the rock ones are always, they're just there. They're just there for looks. Just move them around. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I think we play on bland tables,
We do. Yeah.
And
you could do you could base up like a cow. Just have a cow wandering around.
Well, I was thinking about, what about like a graveyard board, right? Where heaps of the board's full of fucking graves everywhere, they're all like almost like scattered terrain, but you just move them around.
Well, or
so if they're in your way, just move them. But it looks cool. Looks like a graveyard, and you're fighting through a graveyard, and then the actual main bits obviously aren't. They're like the Maud. What's it called? The Garden of Maud. That's actually a real thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I sort of did that a little bit with the board I made, in that I've got little 30 mil or 40 mil rings that are sunken into the board with a little bit of rubberized, flexible steel underneath. And so I've got based up trees or little bits of terrain that just go in the base. And just go in the board, and so it looks quite relatively seamless. So you can have as a random pine tree just sitting in the middle of the board. But it's not terrain. It's just for scenics.
That's, I don't know, sometimes you forget about it when you're playing in tournaments and no one cares, and it's some boring painted green table with some shit but when you're playing at home, you want to make it look as good as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway,
agreed.
Cool. No, thanks, Brush Knights, for that. Hopefully we do see new scenery as well down the track. So, but yeah, definitely, I did notice in the pics that the pictures have got some of those Citadel towers and stuff in the background. So hopefully that means they'll bring them back out. So
Yeah, that would.
they could just make all them made to order all the time, and people would go, "Yep, like,
yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need to put them in stores. Yeah,
no,
cool. Oh man, that's a long episode, but we had a lot to talk about. But we had fun. I think.
was.
Like, there was a good weekend of news and
big
games, and
Yep, that was fun.
That's good.
Well, we want to wrap it up. You got anything else, or I'll let you go? It's been a long one.
We covered everything we're going to cover, I think, this week.
Okay, cool. Well, just like Brush Nights, guys, hit us up for questions as usual, and give us a 5-star rating on your podcast platform of choice. We always like that. And we are getting multiple comments a week on either Facebook or Instagram with our socials. So we always like to hear from you guys. Let us know. Just Old World Fanatics somewhere on any of those socials, you'll find us. So yeah, thanks for listening, and until next time, guys, we'll chat next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya.
So ridiculous.